Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. American Comics. A salted fish, you will become a saint if you hang up. Chapter 61. The Ancient One Mage saw this scene, and he realized that the situation was becoming increasingly dangerous. He stared at the energy device, trying to find a way to stabilize it. Lin Nan, we must stabilize this energy device as soon as possible. I will try to use magic to control it. The Ancient One Mage conveyed his plan. Lin Nan and Hade nodded. They understood the urgency of this task. They continued their offensive, trying to contain the agent. The Ancient One Mage used powerful magical energy to condense into a beam of light and shoot it in the direction of the energy device. The light beam enveloped the device, trying to suppress its energy fluctuations. However, the reaction of the device was extremely violent, and the light beam was constantly resisted by energy fluctuations. The Ancient One Mage felt huge amounts of pressure, and his whole body exuded a bright magical light, trying to stabilize the situation. Lin Nan and Harder continued to go all out, realizing that only by defeating the agent could the situation be effectively stabilized. The agent gradually seemed to be unable to do what he wanted, and his offensive gradually weakened. Lin Nan saw the opportunity and rushed towards the agent again, trying to subdue him. Harder unleashed a more powerful fire attack, trapping the agent in the center of the flames. The agent roared in pain, but still refused to admit defeat. The Ancient One Mage felt that the energy fluctuations of the energy device gradually stabilized, and his brows relaxed slightly. He continued to stabilize the light beam, trying to completely suppress the energy of the device. Finally, the agent was subdued by Lin Nan and Hader and could no longer launch an offensive. He fell to the ground panting, his body emitting bursts of smoke. Lin Nan and Harder stood around the agent, staring at him closely. They know that agents are still dangerous and cannot be taken lightly. The Ancient One Mage felt the stability of the energy device, and his eyes revealed a hint of relief. He stared at Lin Nan and Harder, conveying a firm belief. We succeeded. Now we must stabilize the situation to prevent it from getting out of control again. The Ancient One Mage's voice was solemn and powerful. Lin Nan and Hade nodded, realizing the importance of this mission. Together, they tied up the agent to prevent him from resisting again. Calmness gradually returned to the secret room, and the energy fluctuations gradually weakened. The Ancient One Mage continued to stabilize the energy device until it was completely safe. In the warehouse, Lin Nan and Hader continued to guard against the Dark Force agent who fell on the ground. The Ancient One Mage concentrated on stabilizing the energy device to prevent it from getting out of control again. Suddenly, Lin Nan's eyes fell on the corner of the warehouse and found a citizen lying on the ground, seemingly in a coma. His body exuded an unusual wave of energy. Hard, come here and take a look at this. Lin Nan motioned to Hard, and they went together to check the situation of the citizens. Harder followed Lin Nan and walked towards the unconscious citizen. They noticed that the citizens also had agent-like energy fluctuations, which seemed to be abnormally affected. Lin Nan squatted down and observed the citizens carefully. He found that the eyes of the citizens were abnormal and emitted a strange light. It seems that this citizen has also been affected by the agent, and may be possessed by him. Lin Nan said in a low voice. Harder frowned, confused by this phenomenon. Then what should we do? Lin Nan thought about it and decided to try to use his own technological device to remove the possessed state of citizens. He took out a small scanner and began to scan the citizens' bodies. The scanner emits a faint light, covering the citizens' bodies. Lin Nan watched the feedback from the instrument intently, trying to find clues about the possessed agent. Harder stood by vigilantly, always ready to deal with emergencies. He felt the energy fluctuations around him, and his heart was filled with vigilance and tension. Lin Nan's brows gradually furrowed as he discovered that there was an abnormal energy resonance within the citizens' bodies. He tried to adjust the frequency of the device to find the best way to remove the possession. Suddenly, the citizen's body twitched and his eyes regained clarity. He sat up quickly and looked around. What happened? What am I doing here? The citizen asked in a confused tone. Lin Nan and Hade exchanged glances, and they realized that the citizens had returned to normal and successfully escaped the agent's control. You were possessed by an agent, but you are safe now. Lin Nan explained patiently. There was a trace of surprise and uneasiness in the eyes of the citizens. Possession. This is unbelievable. How could this happen to me? Lin Nan smiled and reassured the citizens. Don't worry, we're here to fix this. Can you tell us what happened? The citizen thought for a moment, trying to recall what happened during the possession. His expression gradually became anxious. I remember that I came to this warehouse, and then my consciousness became blurred, and I couldn't remember anything after that, the citizen said. Lin Nan and Harder exchanged glances, and they realized that this citizen was probably an innocent victim. They decided to continue asking to learn more. Did you see what the man possessed you looked like? Or hear what he said? Harder tried to get more information. Citizens pondered hard, trying to recall the details of the period of possession. A trace of fear gradually appeared on his face. I remember a voice echoing in my head, threatening to send me on some kind of mission. But I can't remember anything clearly. The citizen's voice trembled. Lin Nan pondered, trying to analyze this clue. He realizes that the agent's purpose may be more complex and dangerous than it appears. The Ancient One mage walked towards them, his eyes solemn and serious. We must understand the agent's true purpose as soon as possible and stop their conspiracy. This incident may be far more dangerous than we imagine. Lin Nan and Hade nodded, knowing the urgency of the task. They decided to continue investigating and look for more clues. At the same time, they must protect the citizen's safety and prevent him from being attacked by agents again. There was a tense and serious atmosphere throughout the warehouse. Lin Nan, Hade and the Ancient One mages have firm eyes, and they know their responsibilities and missions well. During the fight, Harder was possessed by a dark force agent, and the situation suddenly became more complicated and dangerous. Hader's body suddenly twitched, and he let out a painful groan. Lin Nan and the Ancient One mage immediately realized the seriousness of the situation, and they took quick action to try to prevent Hader from being completely controlled. Had, resist him. Don't let him control your consciousness. Lin Nan shouted loudly. The Ancient One mage uses powerful magical power to try to interfere with the possessed energy fluctuations. His brows were furrowed, and his whole body exuded strong magic power. Harder struggled to resist, and he realized that he was in a dangerous situation. He struggled with all his strength, trying to get rid of the control of the dark force agent. The agent's voice echoed in Hader's mind, full of threats and orders. Harder's body was greatly tortured, and he felt his consciousness gradually blurring. Lin Nan realized that the situation was urgent and decided to take more decisive action. He took out a technological device and tried to counteract the energy fluctuations of the possessed agent. Had, you have to hold on. We will help you get out of control. Lin Nan's voice was full of determination and confidence. The magical power of the Ancient One mage enveloped Hard, trying to weaken the agent's energetic influence. His brows were furrowed, and his whole body emitted powerful energy fluctuations. In the tense and fierce struggle, Harder finally burst out with strong willpower. He gathered all his strength and tried to get rid of the agent's control. Suddenly, Hader's body shook violently, and a bright light burst out from his body. The agent's influence gradually faded away, and Harder regained his freedom. Harder gasped, realizing that he had almost fallen into the control of the dark forces. He looked gratefully at Lin Nan and the Ancient One mage. Thank you. If it weren't for your help, I would have been completely controlled. Hader said gratefully. Lin Nan smiled and patted Hader on the shoulder. You did a good job, Harder. Now we must continue to find the agent's whereabouts and stop their conspiracy. The Ancient One mage's eyes were solemn, and he realized that time was running out. They must find the agent's true purpose as soon as possible and stop them from causing greater danger. We must speed up the investigation. Hard, how do you feel? The Ancient One mage asked. Harder worked hard to adjust his state, and his body gradually returned to calm. I'm feeling better, just a little tired. I'm ready to move on. Lin Nan and the Ancient One mage nodded, and they discussed the next action plan together. They decided to continue investigating the warehouse and look for more clues. The citizens also looked at them gratefully, and his eyes were full of gratitude and admiration. He knew he was lucky to have the help of these brave men. In the dark corner of the warehouse, a battle related to the security of the universe is quietly unfolding. Lin Nan, Hade and the Ancient One mage will continue to move forward, facing unknown dangers and guarding the peace and tranquility of the entire world. As the investigation deepens, Lin Nan, Hade and the Ancient One mage fall into a more complicated situation. The clues they uncover become increasingly puzzling, and there seems to be a deeper conspiracy hidden. In an emergency operation, they came to another corner of the warehouse to look for key evidence. It's dark and damp here, with all kinds of goods and boxes stacked up. We must find traces of the agent as soon as possible. Time waits for no one, and they may be ready to take the next step at any time. The Ancient One mage warned. Lin Nan and Harder followed closely behind, searching every corner vigilantly. Suddenly, Lin Nan's attention was attracted by a seemingly ordinary box. There's something wrong here, Lin Nan whispered. He walked over to the box and tried to open it. However, the box was extremely heavy and seemed to contain something important. Let me help you. Harder stepped forward and helped Lin Nan open the box. The two of them worked together and finally opened the box. There are some technological devices and folders inside, which seem to be important information about energy devices and agent activities. It looks like we found something valuable. Lin Nan frowned and began to browse the contents of the folder. The Ancient One mage came over and carefully observed the information. His brows gradually furrowed, as if he noticed something. These files show the agent's plans and actions. But there seems to be something deeper. The Ancient One mage spoke solemnly. Suddenly, Harder looked around alertly, and he felt an abnormal energy fluctuation. His body suddenly shook, and his eyes were locked on Lin Nan. Lin Nan, you. Hader's words stopped abruptly. Lin Nan raised his head and smiled slightly, but said nothing. His eyes gradually became cold and unpredictable. The Ancient One mage and Harder looked at each other and felt something strange. They realized something was wrong. Lin Nan, what's wrong with you? The Ancient One mage tried to find out the truth. Lin Nan suddenly let out a burst of sarcastic laughter, and his voice became extremely deep and gloomy. Ha ha, have you finally discovered it? Lin Nan's voice was full of coldness and provocation. Hader looked at Lin Nan in astonishment, completely unable to believe his eyes. The Ancient One mage also looked solemn, trying to understand what was happening in front of him. Lin Nan, what are you talking about? The Ancient One mage's voice was serious and doubtful. A cold light flashed in Lin Nan's eyes, and he made no secret of his true identity. Yes, I am the agent. Lin Nan admitted without any secret. Hearing these words, Harder and the Ancient One mage looked at Lin Nan in disbelief. This comrade who had always been on their side turned out to be the Dark Force agent they had been looking for. No way. Harder's voice trembled. A trace of disappointment and pain flashed in the eyes of the Ancient One mage. He had never imagined that his trust and hope could be so fragile. Why did you do this? The Ancient One mage tried to find the answer. Lin Nan sneered, his eyes full of complex emotions. He began to tell his story. Once upon a time, I was also a guardian, fighting for the peace of the universe. But later I discovered that the order of the universe could not be maintained at all. Thanos, Loki, the Ebony tribe. Our countless efforts were all in vain. Until I discovered greater power and greater truth. Lin Nan's tone became deep and unpredictable. The Ancient One mage was stunned when he heard this. He realized that Lin Nan's change was not accidental. You betrayed the universe, betrayed all of us. The Ancient One mage's voice was full of grief and anger. Lin Nan smiled slightly, but did not deny it. I just saw the truth clearly and found greater strength. Now I will complete my mission, no matter what the cost. A trace of determination and despair flashed in Lin Nan's eyes. Harder was furious when he heard Lin Nan's words. He could not accept such betrayal by his once trusted comrade. Lin Nan, are you crazy? Do you plan to use these dark forces to rule the entire Kamatage? Hader's voice was full of anger and disappointment. Lin Nan's expression was still cold. He looked at Hard and the Ancient One mage as if he were looking at ignorant children. This is not dark power, this is real power, and it can change everything. The order of the universe needs to be rebuilt, and I will become the new lord of the universe. Lin Nan's tone was full of arrogance and ambition. The Ancient One mage frowned. He knew the pressure and pain Lin Nan was experiencing, but he could not agree with Lin Nan's methods and choices. You have gone astray, Lin Nan. This path will only lead to destruction and suffering. The Ancient One mage tried to persuade. Lin Nan shook his head, a hint of helplessness flashed in his eyes. Maybe you can't understand, but I have to move on. Lin Nan's tone became more determined. At this time, the atmosphere in the warehouse became tense and heavy. Lin Nan stood there like a cold stone statue, exuding an insurmountable power and majesty. Harder couldn't bear it anymore, and he rushed to Lin Nan, trying to stop his madness. You can't succeed, Hud roared. Lin Nan sneered and waved his hand, releasing a powerful wave of energy. Hader was knocked back a few steps, his body crumbling. Upon seeing this, the Ancient One Mage immediately cast magic to try to stop Lin Nan's actions. His palms exuded dazzling light, and powerful magic enveloped Lin Nan. Lin Nan was not afraid of the magic attack from the Ancient One Mage. His body moved slightly, dodging the magic attack. Master Ancient One, you can't change my determination, Lin Nan said coldly. The Ancient One Mage was filled with disappointment and pain, and he realized that he could no longer persuade Lin Nan to give up his evil path. Lin Nan, this is not your real choice. You are blinded by the power of darkness, the Ancient One Mage said in a heavy tone. Lin Nan shook his head and smiled, a trace of ruthlessness and determination flashed in his eyes. I know you can't understand, but this is a step I must take. Lin Nan's voice was full of firmness and determination. Deep in the warehouse, a struggle concerning the fate of the universe is quietly taking place. Lin Nan, Hade and the Ancient One Mage stand on opposite ends, and the relationship between them is irreparable. Suddenly, there was a violent energy fluctuation in the warehouse, and everyone's eyes were focused on the entrance of the warehouse. A figure slowly walked into the warehouse, and the surrounding air seemed to solidify with his arrival. This man was tall, dressed in black robes, and exuded a powerful wave of energy. Finally found you, Lin Nan. The man's voice was low and majestic. Lin Nan raised his head, a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. He looked at the visitor as if he knew him but was still unfamiliar. You are. Lin Nan's voice trembled slightly. The man slowly approached and stared at Lin Nan. Yes, I am your true master. The man's voice was full of majesty and authority. Harder and the Ancient One Mage were also stunned. They didn't know who the person in front of them was and what kind of relationship he had with Lin Nan. A trace of vigilance and doubt flashed in Lin Nan's eyes as he tried to understand the mysterious and powerful figure in front of him. Are you my real master? I don't understand. Lin Nan's voice was filled with confusion. The mysterious figure smiled slightly, and his eyes were like the deep night sky, revealing infinite wisdom and power. Yes, Lin Nan, you were born for me and serve me. The mysterious figure's voice was low and mysterious. Harder and the Ancient One Mage exchanged glances, and they were extremely shocked by what was happening before them. They never thought that Lin Nan had such a mysterious identity and mission. Who are you? Why do you want to find Lin Nan? The Ancient One Mage tried to find the answer. The mysterious man looked around, his eyes scanning Lin Nan, Hade and the Ancient One Mage one by one, as if assessing the value and potential of these people. I am the guardian of the universe, and Lin Nan is my chosen successor. He has unlimited potential and power and will become the new generation of Master of the Universe. The mysterious figure's voice revealed a kind of detachment and authority. Lin Nan looked at this mysterious figure who claimed to be the guardian of the universe in astonishment. He could not understand his true identity and mission. I, the Lord of the Universe. Lin Nan's voice was full of disbelief. The mysterious figure nodded, a trace of expectation and trust flashing in his eyes. Yes, you are the only candidate who can inherit my power and mission. We need you to rule the universe and restore order and balance. The mysterious figure's voice was full of mystery and majesty. Complex emotions arose in Lin Nan's heart, and he began to doubt his past and future. But, I used to be a guardian. Lin Nan tried to identify the facts and the truth. The mysterious man smiled slightly, and there was a trace of deep wisdom in his eyes. Yes, you were once a guardian, but that was just part of your growth. Now it's time to accept your true destiny. There was solemnity in the voice of the mysterious figure. Harder and the Ancient One Mage were stunned, and they were completely unable to understand what was happening in front of them. Lin Nan's identity and mission are beyond their imagination, and seem to be related to the fate of the entire universe. Lin Nan, don't be blinded by him. This is not the truth. The Ancient One Mage tried to stop him. Lin Nan was silent for a moment, feeling conflicted and struggling in his heart. He began to recall his past and the years he had spent fighting to protect the universe. I need time. Lin Nan's voice revealed helplessness and confusion. The mysterious figure nodded, as if he had anticipated Lin Nan's hesitation. You have given me enough time. Now it is time to make a decision. There was a hint of seriousness and warning in the voice of the mysterious man. Lin Nan's eyes flickered, and he felt the weight of fate and the difficulty of choice. He was struggling in his heart, not knowing how to make a decision. Lin Nan, don't believe his lies. You are free, you don't need to live for anyone. Hader's voice was full of anger and hope. The Ancient One Mage also stood beside Lin Nan, his eyes full of trust and determination. Lin Nan, you have to believe in yourself. You are not destined to become the Lord of the Universe. The Ancient One Mage's voice was full of expectation and encouragement. Deep in the warehouse, Lin Nan faced an unprecedented choice. His fate will determine the fate of the universe, and his choices will affect the future of the entire world. Lin Nan stood in the middle of the warehouse, falling into a fierce struggle and conflict in his heart. His past and future seemed to be intertwined before his eyes, and the road of destiny forked at his feet. The eyes of the mysterious figure were like sharp swords, locked on Lin Nan, looking forward to his decision. Lin Nan, you are the only hope of the universe. Your power will change everything and reshape the order and balance of the universe. The mysterious figure's voice was low and majestic. Lin Nan was silent for a moment. He had so many thoughts in his heart that he couldn't make a choice. The Ancient One Mage and Harder approached Lin Nan and tried to support and encourage him. Lin Nan, you have to believe in your choice. You are not destined to become the Lord of the Universe. The Ancient One Mage's voice was full of expectation and trust. The mysterious man had no expression on his face. He stared deeply at the place where Lin Nan disappeared. Then, he turned around and left, his figure gradually disappearing into the shadows of the warehouse. The Ancient One Mage and Harder stepped forward, and they sighed heavily. Lin Nan is gone. Hader's voice was full of helplessness and loss. The Ancient One Mage frowned, and there was a hint of worry in his eyes. Where is he going? What will be the future? The Ancient One Mage's voice was full of doubts and worries. On the other side of the portal, Lin Nan felt strong energy fluctuations, and his body seemed to be integrated into the boundless universe. A strange and unfamiliar scene unfolded before Lin Nan's eyes. He found himself in a vast space, surrounded by strange nebulae and twinkling stars. This is a different world, Lin Nan said to himself in surprise. His heart was filled with anticipation and uneasiness. What kind of fate and challenges will this new future bring him? Lin Nan stood in front of the portal, looking confusedly at the space door that shone with blue light. He was full of contradictions and uneasiness. This is an unprecedented adventure, and his choice will determine his future destiny. The Ancient One Mage walked slowly over, his face full of concern and understanding. Lin Nan, you made the right choice. Let's go, don't be afraid of the unknown ahead. The Ancient One Mage's voice was gentle but firm. Lin Nan took a deep breath, and then resolutely stepped into the portal. A powerful energy instantly enveloped him, and his body seemed to have traveled through time and space, floating in a mysterious universe. As the portal closed, tranquility returned to the warehouse. The agents stared at the empty warehouse in stunned silence, unable to believe what they saw. The Ancient One Mage sighed deeply, knowing that the challenge Lin Nan faced would be unprecedentedly difficult. But he believes that Lin Nan will eventually find his own path. On the other side of the portal, Lin Nan felt that his body was surrounded by powerful energy fluctuations, and a wave of dizziness hit him. When he reopened his eyes, he found himself in a strange world. This is a vast and boundless cosmic space, surrounded by nebulae and twinkling stars. Lin Nan felt a mysterious and ancient atmosphere permeating the surrounding air. What exactly is this place? Lin Nan was filled with doubts and curiosity. He looked around and found silence. There are no living things here, only stars and nebulae. Just when Lin Nan felt confused, suddenly, a ray of light flashed and a figure appeared in front of him. Oh, you are new here. Welcome to the other side of the universe. The figure's voice was clear and strange. Lin Nan looked up and saw a mysterious figure in a robe standing in front of him. There was endless wisdom and mystery in his eyes. Who are you? Where is this place? Lin Nan asked warily. The mysterious figure smiled, with a trace of amusement flashing in his eyes. I am the guardian of the universe, you can call me Set. This is an existence beyond time and space, and it is also a portal to the unknown world. Set's voice was full of mystery and majesty. Lin Nan's heart moved, and he began to understand where he was. This is the edge of the universe, connected to countless strange and unknown existences. The other side of the universe. Lin Nan murmured softly. Seth stared at Lin Nan, as if he could see through his heart. You are here to find truth and power. Seth's voice was clear and calm. Lin Nan nodded. Deep in his heart he longed to solve all the mysteries and find his belonging and mission. I need to know everything about the Lord of the Universe. Lin Nan's voice revealed determination and desire. Seth smiled slightly and then walked forward, followed closely by Lin Nan. They embarked on a journey of exploration into this mysterious universe, facing unknown challenges and miracles. However, his life was completely changed by an accident. A sudden experimental accident gave him super ability. His body becomes stronger, his perception becomes sharper, and he can even control and manipulate natural elements. However, this power did not come from an overnight talent, but from a mysterious substance he was exposed to when he was a child. Lin Nan was lost in his ability. He began to explore the source of this power and tried to understand his mission in this world. During his exploration, he met a group of like-minded friends, each of whom also had their own super abilities. They formed a team and jointly faced the evil forces that threatened the security of the world. In the fight against evil forces, Lin Nan and his team experienced many tests and hardships. Not only do they have to face powerful enemies, but they also have to deal with inner struggles and contradictions. However, it is in these challenges that they gradually grow up and find true courage and belief. At the same time, the Marvel world is also facing an unprecedented crisis. A powerful villain named the Destroyer rises, trying to destroy everything and establish his own evil kingdom. Lin Nan and his team decided to step forward to defend world peace and tranquility. Lin Nan and his teammates came to Kamatage, a city full of mystery, to continue their investigation. They entered an ancient building that once housed a legendary prophet. In this ancient temple, they found an ancient dossier, which was said to record the secret of a certain mysterious power. Lin Nan gently opened the file, and the words on the file shone with a faint light, as if telling them an ancient legend. They read intently, but found that there seemed to be a deeper meaning hidden in the words. There is a power called the power of God in this world, which is an existence that transcends the laws of nature. According to legend, only people with pure hearts and selfless beliefs can touch this power. However, this power does not exist for personal selfishness, but to protect world peace and justice. The words in the dossier made them think deeply. Is this kind of divine power the answer they have been looking for? They begin to speculate that perhaps this is the reason why they have super ability. However, more importantly, they realize that they have a responsibility to protect the world. At this moment, a piercing siren suddenly sounded. They immediately became alert and prepared to face possible dangers. Suddenly, a group of soldiers in black uniforms broke into the temple. Their faces were cold and there was a fierce light in their eyes. Who are you? Why did you break in here? Lin Nan stood up and asked in a firm tone. When the agents saw Lin Nan's actions, they immediately raised their weapons and prepared to attack. But before they had time to act, a flickering portal suddenly appeared in front of Lin Nan. Lin Nan, let's go. The Ancient One Mage's voice sounded, with urgency and worry. Lin Nan did not hesitate. He stepped out of the portal and his body disappeared in the light. Inside the warehouse, there was chaos and tension. The agents looked at Lin Nan's disappearance in stunned silence, at a loss. The leading soldier sneered. We are here to retrieve that dossier. You ignorant mortals cannot understand its meaning at all. Hand it over, or you will bear the consequences. Lin Nan's eyes flashed with determination, and he faced the soldiers without fear. This file is equally important to us, and we won't let you take it away. With a deafening roar, a fierce battle broke out. Lin Nan and his teammates showed amazing combat effectiveness. They cooperated with each other tacitly and turned into an invincible force. Every punch and kick is full of strength and determination. They are determined to defend the files in their hands and protect this mysterious power from being controlled by evil forces. The battle was extremely fierce, and the temple was filled with smoke and the smell of battle. Lin Nan and his teammates fought bravely, fearing no hardships or taking a step back. Their determination and courage infected each other and made them more united. Finally, After a fierce battle, Lin Nan and his teammates successfully repelled the group of soldiers and defended the file. They looked at the scene in front of them, and their hearts were filled with the joy and pride of victory. "We succeeded," Lin Nan shouted, waving his fist. Lin Nan and his teammates successfully defended the dossier, but they knew that this was only a small step in the battle, and the entire world still faced huge amounts of threats. They decided to continue their investigation to find more clues about the power of gods and to stop the evil forces who tried to use them for personal gain. They left Kamatage and traveled around the world to find the secrets about the power of God. Their journey is full of dangers and challenges, but they always maintain firm faith and determination. They visited ancient temples, ruins and mysterious underground laboratories, constantly looking for clues and trying to unravel the mystery of this mysterious power. During their journey, they experienced many tests and challenges. Sometimes it is a fierce confrontation with evil forces, and sometimes it is facing one's own inner conflicts and struggles. However, no matter what difficulties they encountered, they always believed in their mission and kept moving forward. They came to the ruins where the apocalypse had happened, where there was death and desolation. There is an eerie atmosphere exuding among the ruins, as if telling the story of past disasters and destruction. In this desolate land, they discovered an abandoned experimental base, which seemed to have conducted some mysterious experiments. "It looks like something incredible happened here." Lin Nan looked around and frowned slightly. Teammates also expressed the same sentiment, and they began to search carefully, trying to find any clues about the power of God. They searched through the laboratory's archives and investigated the records of various experiments, hoping to find some useful information. Suddenly, a piercing siren sounded, and they immediately became alert and prepared to deal with possible dangers. At this moment, a group of soldiers in black uniforms appeared in front of them, holding weapons and with a fierce light in their eyes. "Who are you? Why did you break into our base?" the leading soldier asked in a stern tone. Lin Nan straightened his body and faced the soldiers without fear. "We are here to find clues. We need to know all the information about the power of God. If you are willing to cooperate, we can solve this mystery together." The soldiers were silent for a while, and then the leading soldier raised his head, with a complicated look in his eyes. "We are also looking for the answer to this mystery, but our methods may be different. But since you have already broken in here, then just be prepared to face the consequences." As the soldiers finished speaking, a fierce battle broke out again. Lin Nan and his teammates responded quickly. They showed amazing combat effectiveness and launched a fierce confrontation with the soldiers. In the ruins, they showed extraordinary strength and skills, and every punch and kick was full of determination and courage. The battle was extremely fierce, and the ruins were filled with smoke and the smell of battle. Lin Nan and his teammates fought bravely, fearing no hardships or taking a step back. They have faith in their hearts, firmly believe in their mission, and are determined to defend justice and truth in their hands. During an exploration, Lin Nan and his teammates came to an abandoned factory. This factory was once the headquarters of a chemical company, but now it has been abandoned for many years, leaving only a ruin and desolation. However, despite being abandoned, it is still full of many secrets and dangers. They searched for clues in the factory, trying to find more information about the power of God. However, as they investigated further, a strange smell hit their nostrils, which made people feel uneasy. Lin Nan and his teammates immediately became alert, knowing that danger might be coming. Suddenly, a figure flashed out from the dark corner and appeared in front of them. It was a man wearing a black cloak. His face was hidden in the darkness, and his true identity could not be seen clearly. "Who are you? Why did you break in here?" Lin Nan asked warily. The man in the black cloak walked towards them slowly, with a cold light in his eyes. "I am here to fight for justice, and you are exactly the people I am looking for." Lin Nan and his teammates looked around vigilantly, preparing for possible attacks. However, the mysterious man did not take action immediately. Instead, he slowly untied his cloak and showed a slightly teasing smile. "Do you remember the last time we met?" he said, his voice low and sarcastic. Lin Nan frowned slightly as he tried to recall the confrontation with this mysterious figure. Suddenly, he remembered one thing, that is, he had seen this mysterious figure in a battle, and during that battle, he gave a child a blue candy. "You are the person who showed up when I committed a crime last time," Lin Nan said in surprise. The mysterious man nodded and his smile became more obvious. Yes, I am that person. Suddenly, Lin Nan's body began to emit a dazzling light, and the surrounding air seemed to vibrate with his presence. The timeline has bifurcated, and a new future is being shaped. The mysterious figure's voice echoed throughout the warehouse. Lin Nan felt an invisible force surrounding him, as if it was guiding him towards a new destiny. I need your power, Lin Nan. The mysterious figure's voice was full of expectation and desire. At this critical juncture, Lin Nan made an astonishing decision. He turned to face the wall of the warehouse and began to gather energy. Do you remember when you gave a little kid a blue candy? Lin Nan's heart moved. He thought of that little child. His eyes shone with innocence, as if he saw his past and hope at that moment. What do you want to say? Lin Nan asked, and he began to feel that this mysterious figure did not seem so vicious. The mysterious man smiled. He looked at Lin Nan, his eyes full of complex emotions. I want to talk to you about your ability and your mission. You may not know it, but the power you possess is not just for personal selfishness, but to protect the peace and justice of this world. I want to help you realize your mission and become the guardian of this world. Quote. Listening to his words, Lin Nan felt inexplicably moved in her heart. He saw in the eyes of the mysterious figure a sincerity and determination that he had never seen before. I will consider your suggestion, but before that, I need to continue to look for clues about the power of God. Lin Nan said, knowing that he still has a lot to do, and there are still many mysteries waiting for him to solve. The mysterious man nodded, a trace of respect flashed in his eyes. Okay, I will wait for your decision. But remember, your power does not exist for personal selfishness, but to protect the peace and justice of this world. Quote. When the figure of the mysterious figure gradually faded away, Lin Nan and his teammates were immersed in the deep thoughts left by the conversation. They began to re-examine their mission and the responsibilities that come with having super ability. In this silent factory, they felt a special atmosphere, as if the whole world was waiting for their decision. Do you think what that mysterious man said makes sense? A teammate asked, his eyes showing doubts and uneasiness. Lin Nan pondered for a moment, and then said, what he said does make sense. Our power should not be used to satisfy personal desires, but to protect the peace and justice of this world. We need to think about how to better use our power ability to benefit others. The teammates nodded in agreement, and they began to communicate in depth, sharing each other's views and expectations for the future. At this special moment, they seemed to suddenly have an enlightenment and understand their mission. Suddenly, an idea flashed through Lin Nan's mind, and he remembered what he had seen in a battle before. After the child took the blue candy from him, a pure smile appeared in his eyes, as if he felt hope and warmth at that moment. Maybe we can make some changes to make this world a better place. Lin Nan said, his voice full of firmness and determination. Teammates also expressed support. They decided to use their abilities to make more contributions to society and provide assistance and support to those in need. As a result, Lin Nan and his teammates launched a series of actions. They helped rebuild disaster areas, rescued people trapped in danger, and even established a charity organization to provide education and medical assistance to children in poor areas. Their actions infect people around them, inspiring more people to devote themselves to public welfare and build a better world together. In this process, Lin Nan and his teammates felt extremely satisfied and happy. They understand that their power is not only to fight against evil, but more importantly, to create a better life and contribute to the future of mankind. Their actions have been recognized and praised all over the world. People regard them as heroic beings and feel admiration and gratitude for their good deeds. However, for Lin Nan and his teammates, the most important thing is not the praise of others, but inner satisfaction and persistence in their mission. Lin Nan and his teammates continue their adventure, looking for clues about the power of God. They traveled across continents and oceans, exploring ancient ruins and mysterious underground laboratories. However, despite experiencing various difficulties and challenges, they always persisted in their pursuit of the truth and were determined to uncover the secret of God's power. During their journey, they continued to encounter all kinds of people and things. Some people help them and support their mission, while others try to hinder them and try to control the power of God. However, no matter what difficulties they encountered, Lin Nan and his teammates always believed in their mission and were determined to move forward. By chance, they learned a mystery about the end of the world. It is said that in the near future, the world will face a devastating disaster, and the entire human race will face an existential crisis. This news shocked Lin Nan and his teammates, and they realized that the challenges they faced might be more severe than they imagined. At the same time, they are also investigating the previous blue candy case. Lin Nan recalled the scene at that time. He accidentally discovered a child during a battle and was alone in danger. Feeling compassion, he took out a blue candy from his pocket and handed it to the child. After the child took the candy, his eyes showed gratitude and happiness, as if at that moment, he forgot the fear of being in danger. Lin Nan began to think about whether there was some connection between the two things. He tried to recall the time and place of the battle and then compared it with the time of the end of the world. Suddenly, an idea flashed through his mind, and he seemed to have found a clue. He quickly shared his findings with his teammates, and everyone began to concentrate on analyzing the clues and trying to find more information. After some hard work, they finally discovered some key clues and were able to uncover the truth behind the blue candy case. It turned out that the mysterious figure was the mastermind behind the blue candy case. He used some special technology and ability to create those blue candies, and used them to control people's thinking and behavior. His purpose is to control the fate of the world and achieve his own ambitions and goals. Lin Nan and his teammates decided to prevent the implementation of this evil plan and protect the peace and tranquility of the world. They launched a fierce battle and fought to the death with the mysterious figure. During the battle, they gave full play to their abilities and wisdom and transformed into an invincible force. In the end, they succeeded in defeating the mysterious figure and thwarted his conspiracy. With the arrest of the mysterious man, the truth about the blue candy case finally came to light. People were shocked and angry when they learned about the conspiracy behind it. However, they are also proud and admired for the bravery and wisdom of Lin Nan and his teammates. While investigating the blue candy case, Lin Nan and his teammates discovered some key clues, pointing to the possible hiding place of the villain Lin Nan. After careful analysis and comparison, they determined a hidden base in a remote mountain range, which was likely to be the hiding place of the villain Lin Nan. The team crossed the steep mountain road and arrived near this hidden base. This base is built in a long and narrow valley, surrounded by towering cliffs, and is almost uninhabited. There is a gloomy atmosphere permeating the valley, which seems to be telling the ominousness here. This place looks really desolate and scary. One teammate couldn't help but sigh. Lin Nan frowned. He could feel the strangeness and danger of this place. However, he did not give up, but concentrated on looking for the enemy that might be hidden. After some searching, they finally found a cave hidden behind the mountain wall. This cave looks very secretive and almost impossible to find. Lin Nan and his teammates carefully entered the cave, ready to deal with possible dangers at any time. The cave is dark and damp, and seems to contain endless secrets. They explored carefully, looking for traces of the villain Lin Nan. Suddenly, a strange sound came, as if someone was whispering deep inside. Lin Nan and his teammates were shocked, and they immediately became vigilant and prepared to deal with possible attacks. They went deep into the cave and followed the direction of the sound. Soon, they came to a spacious space and saw a figure standing there with his back to them. "It's you." Lin Nan's voice was full of anger and determination. The figure slowly turned around, revealing a familiar face. It was the villain Lin Nan. His eyes were cold and gloomy, seeming to reveal an ominous atmosphere. "You are here." The villain Lin Nan's voice was cold and mocking. Lin Nan and his teammates looked around, knowing that the decisive battle was about to begin. They stared at the villain Lin Nan, their hearts filled with determination and courage. "We will not let you continue your evil plan." Lin Nan's voice was full of strength and determination. "Then it depends on whether you have the ability," the villain Lin Nan said with a sneer. As his words fell, a fierce battle began. Lin Nan and his teammates started a desperate fight with the villain Lin Nan. Their fists were very close to the flesh and their swords were tense. In the small cave, they showed amazing fighting power and skills, and every attack was full of power and speed. Time seems to blur in this life and death showdown, never stopping for a moment. Lin Nan and his teammates tried their best, not afraid of hardships and dangers, and never backed down. They have faith in their hearts and are determined to fight for justice and to defend world peace and tranquility. Finally, After a fierce battle, Lin Nan and his teammates successfully defeated the villain Lin Nan and thwarted his evil plan. They were filled with the joy and pride of victory, but they also knew clearly that this battle was just a small episode in their adventure. Lin Nan and his teammates successfully defeated the villain Lin Nan, but their adventure was not over yet. They continued to move forward, looking for clues about the power of gods, and exploring this world full of mystery and danger. During their journey, they learned about an impending disaster, the Alabama hurricane in 2050. This hurricane will be one of the most powerful hurricanes in recent years and will bring great destruction to human society and disaster. This news shocked Lin Nan and his teammates, and they realized that the challenges they faced might be more severe than they imagined. They decided to go to Alabama to try to prevent this disaster from happening. As a result, they embarked on a journey full of hardships and dangers, crossing continents and oceans and arriving at the forefront of Alabama. By the time they arrived in Alabama, chaos and destruction had gripped the entire region. Signs of the hurricane's ravages can be seen everywhere, with houses collapsed, trees uprooted and the entire area in ruins. Lin Nan and his teammates were filled with sadness and anger. They knew they must make every effort to help those affected by the disaster and rebuild their homes. They began to search around for the trapped people. In the ruins, they heard calls for help and saw pairs of desperate eyes. They rush into dangerous areas desperately, rescue trapped people and bring them to safety. "Thank you, you are our savior," one of the rescued residents said excitedly. Lin Nan and his teammates smiled, knowing that their efforts were not in vain and they had brought hope and warmth. However, they also know clearly that there are still many people who still need help and their mission is far from complete. In the next few days, Lin Nan and his teammates devoted themselves to post-disaster rescue work. They helped affected residents clear debris, repair homes, and provide food and medical assistance. They work day and night and do everything they can to help those in need so they can get back on their feet and start a new life. With their help, Alabama gradually regained its former prosperity and vitality. The people who were affected by the disaster cheered up again. They looked at Lin Nan and his teammates with gratitude and regarded them as real heroes. Lin Nan and his teammates are filled with joy and pride. They know that their efforts have not been in vain and that they have made important contributions to safeguarding world peace and tranquility. Lin Nan and his teammates performed outstandingly in the post-disaster rescue work in Alabama, and their bravery and selfless actions have been appreciated and respected by the world. However, their mission is not over. They still need to continue to search for clues about the power of God and fight to protect world peace. At this moment, the Ancient One mage appeared in front of them. He is an ancient mage with rich magic power and wisdom. He has guided countless heroes to the path of justice. Now, he came in front of Lin Nan and his teammates, bringing an important task. "Lin Nan, you and your teammates have done a good job. But now, we need your help." The Ancient One mage's voice was solemn and majestic. Lin Nan and his teammates had deep respect for the Ancient One mage, and they immediately expressed their willingness to follow his arrangements. The hurricane incident in Alabama is not an accident. It may be related to the power of God. We need you to go to the place where the incident occurred and investigate the truth of the matter. The Ancient One mage explained. Lin Nan and his teammates were shocked. They knew the importance of this task. They were immediately ready to set off to the scene of the crime to find out the truth. The Ancient One mage has applied for a group of special team members for them. These team members possess various super abilities and skills and will be their powerful assistants. Under the leadership of the Ancient One mage, the team members received special training and equipment to prepare for the upcoming challenges. A week later, Lin Nan and his teammates arrived at the scene of the crime. This is a beautiful town, but now it has become a ruin. The destructive power of the hurricane was shocking. Almost all buildings were destroyed, and the entire area was in chaos. "It seems that the destructive power of this hurricane is quite amazing," one team member lamented. Lin Nan and his teammates looked around silently, knowing that their task was not easy. They began to search every corner of the crime scene, looking for clues behind the hurricane incident. During the search, they discovered some strange signs. The degree of destruction in some places does not match that of others, and there seems to be some hidden force at work. They began to investigate the signs, trying to find out the truth. After some investigation, they finally discovered an underground laboratory hidden under the ruins. This laboratory looks very mysterious and seems to hide many unknown secrets. This is the place we are looking for. Lin Nan's voice was full of firmness and determination. They decided to enter the underground laboratory to explore the truth of the matter. In the process of entering the laboratory, they encountered many difficulties and challenges, but they did not flinch and moved forward unremittingly. Finally, they successfully broke into the core area of the laboratory and discovered a mysterious device. This device exudes powerful energy and seems to be closely related to hurricane events. This is the culprit. Lin Nan's voice was full of anger and determination. They decided to destroy the device to prevent it from causing more damage. After a fierce battle, they succeeded in destroying the device and thwarting those plots to use the power of the gods to cause chaos. Lin Nan and his teammates came to the local supermarket warehouse, which was another key location in their investigation. There was chaos in the warehouse, with shelves knocked over and goods scattered all over the floor, apparently suffering damage from the hurricane. We need to separate and check the entire warehouse to see if there are any suspicious clues, the captain ordered. The team members split up and searched every corner of the warehouse. Lin Nan and another team member, Harder, were assigned together. We have to be careful, Harder said to Lin Nan, this place may hide many dangers. Lin Nan nodded, knowing that Harder was right. They began to search carefully, paying attention to the surrounding movements and guarding against possible accidents. They walked through the rows of shelves, checking every corner. Suddenly, Lin Nan's eyes caught a glimpse of a dark shadow in the corner of the warehouse, and he immediately became alert. Look over there. Lin Nan reminded in a low voice. Harder immediately became vigilant, and they quietly approached the place where the shadow was. As they approached, they saw a figure hiding behind the shelves, seemingly observing them. Let's go over and have a look, Harder said softly. They slowly walked towards the place where the figure was, keeping vigilance. As they approached, the figure suddenly rushed out from behind the shelves and attacked them. Be careful, Lin Nan shouted. They reacted immediately and dodged the figure's attack. Then, they started a fierce battle with the figure. Lin Nan and Harder worked together tacitly, and their moves were sharp and powerful, making them irresistible to their opponents. Who are you? Why are you attacking us? Harder asked loudly. However, the figure did not answer and continued to launch fierce attacks. Lin Nan and Hade were shocked, knowing that they had encountered a tenacious enemy. The battle lasted for a while, and finally, Lin Nan and Hade successfully subdued the figure. They detained the opponent and prepared for further questioning. We have to find a way to find out this person's true identity and purpose, Lin Nan said to Harder. Harder nodded, knowing that they still faced many difficulties and challenges. However, they are determined not to give up, continue to pursue the truth of the matter, and fight to defend world peace. After the Ancient One Mage received the report on the encounter between Lin Nan and Hader, he knew that facing this mysterious and cunning enemy, he needed to act more cautiously. He decided to go to the warehouse himself, confront the man, and monitor their progress. Lin Nan, Harder, you have done a good job. But facing this enemy, we must be careful, the Ancient One Mage said to them. Lin Nan and Hade knew the wisdom and power of the Ancient One Mage, and they had full trust in him. They immediately expressed their willingness to follow the command of the Ancient One Mage and headed to the warehouse together to meet the challenge of this mysterious enemy. There was a tense atmosphere in the warehouse, and they knew that a decisive battle was coming. The Ancient One Mage stared forward, his eyes thoughtful and firm, as if he could understand everything. Suddenly, a black shadow jumped out from the corner of the warehouse and attacked the Ancient One Mage and others. They responded immediately. Lin Nan and Harder stood beside the Ancient One Mage, forming a solid defense line. The black figure showed amazing speed and agility, and his attacks were sharp and swift. However, Lin Nan, Harder and the Ancient One Mage cooperated tacitly. Although their moves were few, they were extremely accurate, making it difficult for their opponents to resist. Who are you? Why did you attack us? Lin Nan asked loudly. However, the black figure did not answer and continued to launch fierce attacks. His eyes were cold and cunning, seemingly hiding endless conspiracies and plans. Yes, Lin Nan, you were born for me and serve me. The mysterious figure's voice was still low and majestic. Lin Nan's heart fell into huge amounts of confusion and contradiction. He remembers that he was once a guardian, but now he hears that his mission is to become the master of the universe. All this seemed beyond his understanding and acceptance. But Lin Nan tried to identify the facts and the truth, but the fog in her heart became thicker. Agents have surrounded the area outside the warehouse. They are fully armed and nervously waiting for the next order. We must subdue him, the Ancient One Mage said to Lin Nan and Harder, then we can find out his true identity and purpose. Lin Nan and Hade nodded, knowing that their task was not easy. They continued to fight fiercely with their opponents, trying their best and fearing no danger. As the battle progressed, they gradually discovered the weaknesses of their opponents and used these weaknesses to launch a fierce offensive. In the end, they successfully subdued their opponent and detained him aside for further questioning. Now, we have to find out his true identity and purpose, the Ancient One Mage said to Lin Nan and Hader. They began to question the detained person, hoping to learn the truth from him. However, the opponent remained silent and refused to disclose any information. It seems that this person is very cunning, Harder said with a frown. We must find a way to break his silence. Lin Nan's voice was full of determination. In the corner of the warehouse, Lin Nan found a citizen tied to a chair. His body was shrouded in a layer of black energy, and he seemed to be possessed by a villain. This is the person we are looking for, Lin Nan exclaimed. Harder and the Ancient One Mage came over immediately, and they both showed shocked expressions. Is this the culprit? Harder asked doubtfully. It seems that he used this citizen's body to hide himself, the Ancient One Mage said thoughtfully. We must expel him from this body. Lin Nan nodded, and they immediately took action. The Ancient One Mage concentrated his mind and began to perform exorcism, trying to drive the villain out of the citizens' bodies. However, the villain was not willing to be defeated so easily. His energy became more powerful and he tried to resist the expulsion of the Ancient One Mage. We must work harder to prevent him from succeeding, Lin Nan shouted loudly. Hader also joined the battle, and he and Lin Nan fought against the villain's resistance. Their bodies are full of strength and determination, and they move forward without fear of hardships. With the powerful magic power of the Ancient One Mage and the firm will of Lin Nan and Harder, the black energy finally began to dissipate and the villain gradually emerged. You have nowhere to hide, the Ancient One Mage said coldly. Although the villain was angry, he was ultimately unable to withstand the powerful power of the Ancient One Mage. He was expelled from the citizen's body, turned into a black energy, and disappeared into the air. The citizen was rescued. He looked a little confused and frightened, not knowing what was going on. You're okay, Lin Nan comforted, we have driven away the villain. The citizens looked at Lin Nan and Master Ancient One gratefully, their eyes full of gratitude and admiration. Thank you, you are our lifesavers, the citizens said excitedly. Lin Nan and Master Ancient One smiled, knowing that their efforts were not in vain. They had successfully defeated the villain's conspiracy and protected the safety of citizens. However, they also know clearly that even if the villain is defeated, their mission is far from complete. They will continue to move forward, continue to pursue the truth about the power of God, and fight to protect world peace. During the fierce battle with the villain, Harder was unfortunately possessed by the villain. Black energy quickly enveloped his body, and his eyes became cold and terrifying. Anxiety and fear surged in Lin Nan's heart. The Ancient One Mage was also aware of the danger, and he immediately used powerful magic to try to expel the villain from Hard's body. However, the villain's power has become more powerful. He seems to have taken control of Hader's body and refuses to give up easily. Lin Nan and the Ancient One Mage fought against the villain together, trying to save Hade. Their bodies are full of strength and determination, and they will never allow the villain to succeed. You must resist, Lin Nan shouted loudly. Hader's body was shaking violently, and his face was struggling with an expression of pain and helplessness. However, his consciousness seems to have been controlled by the villain and he is unable to extricate himself. After a fierce battle, the villain seemed to have the upper hand. His power became stronger and stronger, almost overwhelming Lin Nan and the Ancient One Mage. We must find a way to subdue him, the Ancient One Mage said, with a hint of anxiety in his voice. Lin Nan's heart moved, and he remembered a special spell he had discovered while investigating the case before. He knew that if he could cast this spell, he might be able to weaken the villain and save Hade. He immediately began to gather energy and cast the spell. The black runes shone with mysterious light in his hands, seeming to contain infinite power. Now as the last chance, Lin Nan took a deep breath and cast the spell. The spell gave off a dazzling light, hitting the villain like a bolt of lightning. The villain let out a scream, and his body began to tremble violently, as if he was in great pain. However, he still resisted tenaciously and refused to fall easily. Lin Nan and the Ancient One Mage know that they must work harder to completely defeat the villain. They continued to use various spells and moves, and launched a fierce battle with the villains. Their bodies are full of strength and determination, and they will never allow the villain to continue to act recklessly. After a fierce battle, finally, the villain's power gradually weakened and his body began to collapse. Lin Nan and the Ancient One Mage took the opportunity to deliver the final blow, completely defeating him. The black energy dissipated, and Harder's body gradually returned to normal. He looked gratefully at Lin Nan and Master Ancient One, their eyes full of gratitude and admiration. "Thank you, you saved my life," Harder said excitedly. Lin Nan and Master Ancient One smiled, knowing that their efforts were not in vain, and they successfully saved an innocent life. However, they also know clearly that even if the villain is defeated, their mission is far from complete. With Harder's rescue, the atmosphere in the warehouse relaxed slightly. Lin Nan, Hade and the Ancient One Mage stood together, their eyes focused on the imprisoned villain, trying to learn more truth from him. "Yes, I am your true master." The man's voice was full of majesty and authority. Lin Nan looked at this mysterious figure who claimed to be the guardian of the universe in astonishment. He could not understand his true identity and mission. "I, the Lord of the Universe." Lin Nan's voice was full of disbelief. Lin Nan was filled with uneasiness and confusion when facing this mysterious figure who claimed to be the Lord of the Universe. He knew that he was facing a major choice, but deep down he felt an irresistible force pushing him. "Are you, my master?" Lin Nan's voice trembled slightly, trying to understand what was happening in front of him. The mysterious figure nodded, with a hint of expectation in his eyes. However, when the black energy gradually dissipated and the true face was revealed, the three of them fell into heavy shock. The person standing in front of them turned out to be Lin Nan himself. How is this possible? Harder could hardly believe his eyes. The Ancient One Mage also looked shocked. He wanted to find an explanation, but the facts in front of him made him unbelievable. Lin Nan himself was also shocked, his eyes were full of confusion. He simply couldn't understand why he would become part of this conspiracy. I don't understand, how can I become part of the villain?" Lin Nan's voice was filled with confusion. However, Lin Nan in the black energy did not answer. His eyes were cold and gloomy, seeming to hide endless conspiracies and tricks. "What are you doing?" Harder's voice was full of anger and dissatisfaction. The Ancient One Mage pondered for a moment, and he began to search for answers, trying to unravel the truth of this mystery. However, all this is too strange and incredible to be understood. Lin Nan felt a sense of powerlessness in his heart. He felt that he was troubled by this conspiracy, and he could not find any explanation. He knew that he had to find out the truth as soon as possible in order to get rid of all this trouble. "We must find the answer," the Ancient One Mage said solemnly. "Only by solving this mystery can we find the real culprit and protect the peace of the world." Lin Nan nodded, knowing that he had to find the answer as soon as possible, otherwise the whole world would fall into endless chaos and danger. So, they began to investigate, trying to find out the truth behind Lin Nan's possession. They searched for every clue and carefully analyzed every detail, trying to find the key to solving the mystery. However, in this process, they faced many difficulties and challenges. The source of the black energy is so cleverly hidden that no one can easily find clues. They must overcome many difficulties before they can find clues to the truth. When Lin Nan looked at himself possessed by black energy, his heart was full of contradictions and confusion. He tried to recall everything in the past and find out why he was involved in this conspiracy. His thoughts were chaotic, and he felt as if he was in a strange world, and everything became blurred and distorted. During the investigation, Lin Nan gradually discovered some key clues, and he began to doubt his past. He began to doubt his former friends and allies, whether they were hiding some secrets, and whether they had ever betrayed him. During the conversation with Hard and the Ancient One Mage, Lin Nan gradually began to understand his true thoughts. He felt betrayed and used, and anger and hatred surged in his heart. I used to trust them, but now I realize that they have never been my friends. Lin Nan's voice was full of anger and grief. The Ancient One Mage looked at him deeply, knowing that Lin Nan was going through an inner struggle and test. He tried to comfort Lin Nan and told him not to give up easily. Only by persisting can he find the truth. However, Lin Nan's heart was full of contradictions and confusion. He felt as if he was in a strange world, and everything became blurred and distorted. He began to doubt his own beliefs and values, and he didn't know how to choose. After thinking and struggling again and again, Lin Nan finally found the answer. He realized that he was being manipulated by the villain and that all his actions were just part of the villain's conspiracy. He felt that his previous beliefs and ideals had been completely subverted, and he didn't know how to face all this. However, even in the face of all these difficulties and challenges, Lin Nan did not give up. He is determined to defeat his inner demons and regain his beliefs and ideals. He knows that only by persisting can he find the truth, get rid of the shackles of the conspiracy, and rebuild his future. With the help of Hard and the Ancient One Mage, Lin Nan continued his investigation and tried to uncover the truth of the conspiracy. Together they searched for every clue and carefully analyzed every detail, trying to find the key to solving the mystery. After some hard work, they finally found the key clues and discovered the truth hidden in the shadows. It turns out that everything is a conspiracy aimed at ruling Taj. What is all this for? Hard's voice was full of anger and dissatisfaction. This is a conspiracy aimed at ruling Taj. The Ancient One Mage's voice was heavy and cold. As the truth gradually emerged, Lin Nan, Hade and the Ancient One Master realized the huge challenge they faced. The depth of the conspiracy is far beyond their imagination, and it is even more secretive. This is all too incredible. Harder's voice was full of anger and dissatisfaction, and his fists were clenched tightly. We must stop them. The Ancient One Mage's eyes flashed with determination, otherwise, the entire Taj will fall into darkness. Lin Nan took a deep breath. He knew that he had to take action and could no longer be troubled by the conspiracy. He is determined to expose this conspiracy and let everyone know the truth. However, they also know clearly that it is not easy to break this conspiracy. They must face many difficulties and challenges in order to find clues to the truth and reveal the truth of the conspiracy. In thinking and exploring again and again, they gradually discovered the true purpose of the conspiracy. It turns out that the ultimate goal of the villains is not just to rule Taj, they also want to control the power of God and become the master of the world. This is crazy, Harder said in disbelief. We must stop them. The Ancient One Mage's voice was heavy and cold, otherwise, the whole world will fall into darkness. Lin Nan nodded, knowing that he must act as soon as possible, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. He is determined to break this conspiracy and protect the peace and tranquility of Taj. The man raised his head, revealing a pale face, his eyes full of fear and despair. He was mumbling to himself, as if he was saying some incomprehensible words. He seems to have been severely frightened. The Ancient One Mage's voice was low and calm, and he stared at the person in front of him. On the way to bring the suspect back to the investigation base, the team decided to separate. Harder, a member of the team, made a request. He asked himself to act with Lin Nan, because he felt it was necessary to personally supervise this cunning suspect. I think we should act separately. Harder's voice was calm and firm, and he looked directly at Lin Nan. Lin Nan nodded. He understood Harder's worries. This suspect is obviously very cunning and needs to be treated with special caution. Okay, let's act together, Lin Nan replied equally firmly, his heart full of determination and confidence. Therefore, Lin Nan and Harder formed a team and were responsible for supervising and escorting the suspects. Other team members are responsible for patrolling the surrounding area to ensure safety. On the way back, the suspect remained silent, with a cunning light in his eyes. His behavior was unsettling, as if he might do something unexpected at any moment. Why are you hiding in an abandoned warehouse? Harder tried to communicate with the suspect, hoping to get some clues from him. The suspect was silent for a while, and then slowly said, I just want to escape from some things and escape from the memories of the past. Hader frowned. he could feel a hint of secrecy and uncertainty in the suspect's words. He knew that this person was not going to reveal his secret easily, so he decided to ask from another angle. Do you know why we are looking for you? Harder's voice became serious, and he tried to create a pressure to force the suspect to tell the truth. The suspect's eyes flickered, as if he was thinking about how to answer this question. Finally, he sighed and whispered, I know everything won't be that simple. When Hard heard this, he felt an ominous premonition in his heart. He knew that the situation before them might be much more complicated than they imagined, and they must deal with it carefully to avoid falling into greater danger. Lin Nan watched quietly from the side, with a trace of vigilance in his eyes. He knows that the suspect's secret may be related to the progress of the entire investigation. They must find the answer as soon as possible and unravel the truth of the mystery. The Ancient One mage was silent for a while. He knew that facing the situation in front of him, he didn't have much choice. He finally nodded and agreed to Harder's request. Okay, we will act together, but we must remain vigilant. The Ancient One mage's voice was low and calm, and his eyes scanned the surroundings, vigilantly observing possible dangers. Harder breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that the Ancient One mage's agreement meant that they received more support and protection. So, they continued to move towards the investigation base, always keeping vigilant and prepared for possible unexpected situations. As they walked, the suspect's expression became increasingly anxious. His eyes scanned the surrounding environment from time to time, as if looking for opportunities to escape. What are you thinking about? Lin Nan's voice was cold and stern, and he stared at the suspect sharply. The suspect lowered his head, his expression becoming more cunning and sinister. He seemed to be thinking about countermeasures and trying to find some opportunities to escape. We already know your identity. Harder's voice was cold and powerful. He tried to suppress the suspect's resistance and let him understand that running away was useless. The suspect was stunned for a moment, and then suddenly burst out with a violent momentum. He broke free from the handcuffs and rushed towards Lin Nan and Hader, roaring like a beast. Lin Nan and Harder reacted immediately. They quickly dodged and launched a counterattack at the same time. A fierce fight unfolded in the dark space of the basement, and the suspect showed amazing skills and strength that were unbelievable. Lin Nan and Hader cooperated tacitly. They assisted each other and tried to subdue the suspect. The Ancient One mage also joined the battle. He was agile and used extraordinary abilities to provide powerful support to his teammates. The fierce fight lasted for a while, and finally, Lin Nan and Harder teamed up to subdue the suspect and handcuff him again. You can't escape. Lin Nan's voice was full of firmness and determination. He had already seen through the suspect's conspiracy and plan. The team continued to move forward, leading the suspect in the direction of the investigation base. Although they encountered an unexpected fierce battle, they did not give up. On the contrary, they became more determined to solve the mystery. In a corner of the warehouse, Lin Nan suddenly discovered a thin citizen, huddled in the corner, exuding an indescribable strange aura. The citizen looked very weak, with confusion in his eyes. What's wrong with you? Lin Nan stepped forward, his voice full of concern and sympathy. He wanted to find out the situation of this citizen. The citizen raised his head, his eyes showing a look of helplessness and fear. His body was trembling, as if he was trying to resist something. I don't know what happened. The citizen's voice trembled, his words full of confusion and panic. Lin Nan stared at this citizen, and he could feel the strange aura emanating from him. An intuition suddenly surged in his heart, as if he knew everything that happened to this citizen. You are possessed by the villain, right? Lin Nan's voice was firm and calm, and he tried to use his own power to awaken the citizen's consciousness. The citizen was stunned for a moment, and then nodded, with a hint of understanding and relief in his eyes. He seemed to be aware of the situation he was in and understood everything Lin Nan said. Harder also stood beside Lin Nan, his eyes firm. Lin Nan, your power was originally used to protect, not to conquer. Don't be blinded by them. Harder's voice was full of grief, anger and determination. Lin Nan listened to their advice silently, and gradually made a decision in his heart. Maybe you can't understand, but I have to go my own way. Lin Nan's voice revealed helplessness and determination. The mysterious figure smiled slightly, as if he had already anticipated Lin Nan's choice. Your fate has been determined, whether you accept it or not. The mysterious figure's voice was full of mystery and majesty. I, the Lord of the Universe. Lin Nan's voice was full of disbelief. The mysterious figure nodded, a trace of expectation and trust flashing in his eyes. Lin Nan stood in the middle of the warehouse, falling into a fierce struggle and conflict in his heart. His past and future seemed to be intertwined before his eyes, and the road of destiny forked at his feet. The eyes of the mysterious figure were like sharp swords, locked on Lin Nan, looking forward to his decision. Lin Nan, you are the only hope of the universe. Your power will change everything and reshape the order and balance of the universe. The mysterious figure's voice was low and majestic. Lin Nan was silent for a moment. He had so many thoughts in his heart that he couldn't make a choice. The Ancient One Mage and Harder approached Lin Nan and tried to support and encourage him. Lin Nan, you have to believe in your choice. You are not destined to become the Lord of the Universe. The Ancient One Mage's voice was full of expectation and trust. Harder also stood beside Lin Nan, his eyes firm. Lin Nan, your power was originally used to protect, not to conquer. Don't be blinded by them. Harder's voice was full of grief, anger and determination. Lin Nan listened to their advice silently, and gradually made a decision in his heart. Maybe you can't understand, but I have to go my own way. Lin Nan's voice revealed helplessness and determination. The mysterious figure smiled slightly, as if he had already anticipated Lin Nan's choice. Your fate has been determined, whether you accept it or not. The mysterious figure's voice was full of mystery and majesty. At this time, the door of the warehouse was suddenly knocked open, and a group of agents poured in. They were fully armed and had solemn faces. This may be a place where experiments are conducted. We have to search carefully. Lin Nan thought to himself. At the same time, Harder discovered some old experimental records in another room. He looked through these records carefully, trying to find key information. It seems that these records are all experimental data about blue candies, and we may be able to find some useful clues. Harder said to himself. In another corner, the female Lin Nan found a worn notebook behind an old bookshelf. She opened the notebook and found that it contained a lot of details about the blue candy experiment. There should be a lot of valuable information in this notebook. She thought to herself and began to read carefully. As Lin Nan, Hade and the female Lin Nan searched for clues in the laboratory, the air was filled with tension and expectation. Lin Nan went deep into the secret room. There was a damp smell surrounding it, and the walls were covered with complicated pipes and cables. He carefully checked every corner, hoping to find key clues that could reveal the truth behind the blue candy. Maybe we can find something important here. For our goal, we must search carefully. Lin Nan thought to himself. He began to look around the room, observing every detail. In a corner, he found a seemingly ordinary drawer. He opened the drawer, which was filled with old experimental records and some chemical reagent bottles. Perhaps there is some key information in these records, Lin Nan said to himself. He began to study these records carefully, trying to find clues that could solve the mystery. Gradually, he discovered some interesting data that seemed to be closely related to the blue candy experiment. At the same time, Harder discovered an ancient experimental device in another room. This equipment looks very old, but it exudes a mysterious atmosphere. Harder began to carefully examine every part of the device, trying to figure out its purpose. This equipment may be used to make blue candies, Harder guessed. He began to search the experimental benches and cabinets around the equipment, hoping to find some useful clues. In a corner, he found a small sealed box. He opened the box carefully, and it was filled with blue pills. Is this the legendary blue candy? Harder murmured in surprise. He put the pills into the bag and prepared to take them back for further study. At the same time, the female Lin Nan was flipping through the worn notebook in another room. This notebook records a large amount of experimental data and research results, and seems to be everything about blue candy. She read every page carefully, trying to find out the truth hidden behind it. There must be important information hidden in these records. We must find out everything. She secretly made up her mind. She continued to flip through the notebook until she suddenly found some content related to Lin Nan's plan. It seems that his plan is to bring down Kamal Taj and break the sacred timeline. She was shocked. She immediately picked up these records and prepared to share them with Lin Nan and Hader. She knows that this information is crucial to uncovering the truth about the Blue Candy case. Lin Nan, Hade and the female Lin Nan sat nervously in the laboratory, exchanging key clues they had discovered with each other. Suddenly, the walls of the laboratory began to tremble weakly, as if they were affected by some kind of force. What happened? Harder stood up in surprise and looked around. The timeline here seems to have bifurcated. Female Lin Nan's voice was full of uneasiness. Lin Nan frowned. He could feel the distortion of time and space around him, which meant that their actions had begun to affect the stability of the timeline. We must stop Lin Nan's plan, otherwise the consequences will be disastrous. Lin Nan's tone was full of determination. They decided to continue their in-depth investigation to find out where Lin Nan was hiding and stop his conspiracy. In the laboratory, they analyzed the clues they found together, trying to find out all the information related to the Blue Candy. It seems that Blue Candy is not only a drug, but also a power that can affect the timeline. Harder thought hard. Perhaps this is Lin Nan's true purpose. He wants to achieve his goal by manipulating the timeline. There was a hint of fear in the voice of the female Lin Nan. They increasingly realize that what they are facing is not just an ordinary crime case, but more likely a conspiracy that affects the entire timeline. Suddenly, the wall of the laboratory trembled again, and a crack appeared on the wall, which seemed to lead to another time and space. What is this? Lin Nan frowned tightly. The three of them walked towards the crack, trying to figure out what was going on. As they approached the crack suddenly began to expand, and a strong suction force sucked the three of them into it. He carefully opened the small door and found a secret room inside. The walls were covered with various experimental equipment and many experimental materials were piled on the floor. Lin Nan, you have been surrounded. Surrender. The agent leader's voice echoed throughout the warehouse. Lin Nan looked around calmly, knowing that the situation was irreversible. He had already made a decision in his heart. Suddenly, there was a violent energy fluctuation in the warehouse, and everyone's eyes were focused on the entrance of the warehouse. A figure slowly walked into the warehouse, and the surrounding air seemed to solidify with his arrival. This man was tall, dressed in black robes, and exuded a powerful wave of energy. Finally found you, Lin Nan. The man's voice was low and majestic. Lin Nan raised his head, a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. He looked at the visitor as if he knew him but was still unfamiliar. You are. Lin Nan's voice trembled slightly. The man slowly approached and stared at Lin Nan. So, they began to take action to try to stop the villain's conspiracy. They acted separately, searching for every clue and carefully analyzing every detail, trying to find the key to breaking the conspiracy. In the fierce confrontations again and again, they always maintained firm faith and determination, and moved forward without fear of hardships. Their bodies are full of strength and courage, and they are determined to overcome all difficulties and defend the peace and tranquility of Kamatage. After some hard work, they finally found the key to breaking the conspiracy. They discovered the hiding place of the villains and were determined to defeat them completely and protect the peace of Kamatage. As they approach the villains' hideout, a tense and depressing atmosphere fills the air. Lin Nan, Hade and the Ancient One Mage are preparing for the final battle, and their hearts are full of determination and belief in fighting. The woman's eyes flickered for a moment, as if she was thinking about something. Blue Candy, I've never heard of it. The woman replied calmly. But Lin Nan felt that her answer was a little unnatural, as if she was hiding something. Are you sure? We really need your help, Harder said firmly. The woman was silent for a moment and finally nodded. Okay, I'm willing to help you, the woman said. Lin Nan and Hade secretly breathed a sigh of relief. They looked at the woman gratefully and prepared to start investigating. After the woman expressed her willingness to help, Lin Nan and Harder set off with her in the direction of the laboratory. On the way, they started a conversation. What's your name? Lin Nan tried to break the silence. My name is Lin Nan, the woman replied simply. Hearing her answer, Hard couldn't help but frown. He felt that the name was familiar, but he couldn't place it. Are you a resident of this town? Lin Nan continued to ask. Yes, I have always lived here, Lin Nan said, looking far ahead. Then what do you know about this laboratory? Harder asked. This laboratory was abandoned a long time ago, but nearby residents know that it once conducted some mysterious experiments, Lin Nan explained. The three of them fell silent, thinking about the situation in front of them. Lin Nan suddenly spoke to break the silence. "What do you two plan to do with me?" she asked bluntly. Lin Nan and Harder looked at each other, knowing that they could no longer hide it. "We are investigating a case involving a drug called blue candy," Lin Nan said frankly. Lin Nan smiled slightly when she heard this, and there was a hint of coldness in her eyes. "Blue candy, I've heard of it," she said, her eyes becoming colder. "Have you heard of it? What do you know?" Harder asked eagerly. Lin Nan was silent for a moment, seeming to be thinking about whether to tell them the truth. Blue candy is a drug that can control people's hearts. It can make people completely obey orders and lose their self-awareness. She finally told the truth. Lin Nan and Hade were shocked after hearing this. They didn't expect this matter to be so serious. "Then why do you want to help us?" Lin Nan asked puzzledly. "Because I know you are investigating that lunatic Lin Nan." There was a hint of disgust in her voice. Lin Nan and Harder looked at each other, and they were surprised to find that the woman in front of them seemed to have a special hatred for Lin Nan. "What grudges do you have against Lin Nan?" Lin Nan tried to explore her true thoughts. He destroyed my family and made me lose everything." There was unconcealable anger in her voice. Lin Nan and Harder fell silent after hearing this. They realized that the woman in front of them might have an indissoluble bond with Lin Nan. "We will try our best to help you find out the truth and stop his conspiracy," Lin Nan said solemnly. The conversation between the three was full of determination, and they decided to join forces to fight against the crazy Lin Nan and uncover the truth about the blue candy case. As Lin Nan, Hader and their daughter Lin Nan headed to the laboratory together, they remained vigilant and prepared to deal with possible dangers at any time. Still, the atmosphere was tense. "Why are you helping us?" Lin Nan asked the female Lin Nan again her motives. The female Lin Nan was silent for a moment, her expression looking complex and deep. "I know I have no right to ask you to believe me, but I do hope that we can stop that madman together." There was a hint of determination in her tone. Lin Nan and Harder exchanged glances, and they could feel the sincerity of the female Lin Nan. Maybe she really has the same goal as them, which is to stop Lin Nan's conspiracy. Finally, they arrived at the laboratory. This laboratory has been abandoned for many years and is surrounded by weeds and looks very desolate. It seems that this place has been abandoned for a long time. Harder frowned. "Yes, but we have to go in and take a look. Maybe we can find some clues," Lin Nan said firmly. The three of them decided to enter the laboratory together to explore the truth about the blue candy case. Upon entering the laboratory, a strong smell of dust hit us, and the graffiti and faded posters on the walls made the space look even more desolate. "Where are we going to find clues?" Harder looked around, feeling a little confused about this unfamiliar environment. "Let's search separately first and see if we can find anything useful," Lin Nan suggested. So, they acted separately, each looking for clues in different areas. Deep in the laboratory, Lin Nan suddenly discovered a small door hidden behind a pile of debris. "It looks suspicious here. Maybe something is hidden inside." Lin Nan's heart moved and she decided to open the small door and take a look. "What are you looking for?" The woman's voice was clear and cold. Lin Nan and Harder looked at each other, and they vaguely felt an unusual aura. "We are investigating a case. Do you know about the blue candy case?" Lin Nan asked tentatively. Harder and the Ancient One Mage looked at each other, they couldn't believe their ears. They once trusted Lin Nan, but now they discovered that their friend was actually the mastermind behind the conspiracy. "What do you mean?" Harder's voice was full of confusion and anger. Lin Nan took a deep breath and tried to explain his behavior. He told them his true purpose was to break the sacred timeline and bring down the world. He admitted that he was once part of the villain and that he helped them implement a series of conspiracies and plans. "I know this sounds crazy," Lin Nan's voice was full of self-blame and anger, "but this is the truth. I am not the hero you imagined. I am a traitor. I betrayed my beliefs and ideals." Harder and the Ancient One Mage fell silent. They could not accept this fact. They could not believe that their friend was the mastermind behind this conspiracy. Their hearts were filled with anger and disappointment. They felt betrayed and their beliefs and ideals had been completely subverted. After Lin Nan confessed, Harder and the Ancient One Mage felt unprecedented shock. They originally thought they were fighting alongside a hero, but now they discover that their ally is actually one of the masterminds of this conspiracy. This cruel fact shocked their hearts by huge amounts of money. How is this possible? Harder's voice was full of anger and dissatisfaction. Why would you do such a thing? Lin Nan remained silent, his heart filled with self-blame and guilt. He knew that his actions had caused irreversible consequences, and he felt that he had become an accomplice in the conspiracy and betrayed his beliefs and ideals. The Ancient One Mage thought for a moment, trying to clear his mind and find a solution to the problem. He knew that now was not the time to blame, but to find a way to save the situation and stop Lin Nan's conspiracy. We must stop Lin Nan. The Ancient One Mage's voice was heavy and calm, otherwise, the entire world will fall into endless chaos and danger. Harder and the Ancient One Mage are determined to stop Lin Nan's conspiracy and protect the peace and tranquility of Kamatage. They know it will be a hard battle, but they are determined to fight to the end for their beliefs and ideals. However, as their determination strengthens, the timeline begins to diverge. The originally stable timeline has become distorted and chaotic, and everything has become unpredictable. They realized that Lin Nan's behavior had completely changed the fate of the world, and they must act as soon as possible, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. In the process of the timeline bifurcating, they faced huge amounts of challenges and difficulties. The distortion of time and space makes everything chaotic and uncontrollable. They must do their best to find a solution to the problem. Lin Nan felt that he was troubled by his own conspiracy. He knew that he had to act as soon as possible, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. He is determined to fight for his beliefs and ideals until the last moment. Lin Nan stood in the dark room. The portal emitted a faint light, reflecting his face. He is full of inner contradictions. He knows that his choice may have devastating consequences, but he cannot give up his goal. Lin Nan, you can't do this. Hard's voice suddenly sounded, breaking the silence. Lin Nan turned his head and looked at Harder and the Ancient One Mage standing on the other side of the portal, their eyes full of despair and confusion. I have to do this. Lin Nan's voice was full of helplessness. I know it sounds crazy, but I can't sit back and do nothing anymore. I must try every means to break the shackles of this world and reshape its future. Quote. But you can't take risks like this. Harder's voice was full of anger and dissatisfaction. His fists clenched. This will bring devastating consequences. We must stop you. Lin Nan fell silent. He knew that his choice might have devastating consequences, but he could not give up on his goal. He was full of inner contradictions, and he didn't know how to make a choice. The Ancient One Mage walked up to Lin Nan, his eyes full of compassion and understanding. Lin Nan, I know you are fighting for your beliefs and ideals. The Ancient One Mage's voice was gentle but firm, but you cannot ignore your responsibilities and obligations. You are a hero, and you must fight to defend the world. Struggle, even at the highest cost. Lin Nan nodded silently. He knew that the Ancient One Mage was right. He must fight to defend the world, even if he pays the highest price. He took a deep breath, turned around and walked towards the portal, determined to fight to the end for his beliefs and ideals. Lin Nan, wait. Hard's voice suddenly sounded, his eyes full of firmness and determination. Lin Nan stopped, turned his head, and looked at Harder, his eyes full of doubts and confusion. We will always support you. Harder's voice was full of firmness and determination. No matter what happens, we will stand behind you and fight alongside you. A warm current surged in Lin Nan's heart. He knew that he was no longer alone. He had the support and encouragement of his friends. He believed that he would be able to overcome all difficulties and achieve his goals. Lin Nan stood in front of the portal, staring at the unknown dark place. His heart was in turmoil, full of hesitation and uneasiness about his future choices. He knew that his decision would affect the fate of the entire world, but he could not make it easily. The Ancient One Mage walked quietly to Lin Nan's side. His eyes were deep and quiet, as if he could see through everything in Lin Nan's heart. Lin Nan, the Ancient One Mage's voice was gentle but firm, you must clearly know that your choice will have a profound impact on the entire world. No matter where you decide to go, you need to be responsible for your actions and be brave. Face whatever comes next. Lin Nan nodded silently. He understood the words of the Ancient One Mage and realized that he must be responsible for his actions. He was still conflicted, but he knew he had to make a decision. I understand. Lin Nan's voice was heavy. I have to face my own choices. No matter what the outcome is, I will be responsible for my actions. The Ancient One mage nodded and signaled Lin Nan to make his own choice. Lin Nan took a deep breath, then took firm steps and walked into the portal. The world in the dark seems to be a void, without any signs or clues. Lin Nan felt as if he was in a strange and mysterious world, where everything became blurred and distorted. He doesn't know what kind of challenges and difficulties he will face, but he knows that he must face it bravely, no matter what kind of unknown lies ahead. In the darkness, he felt a powerful force guiding him, as if giving him strength and courage. He closed his eyes and concentrated on feeling the power, then took firm steps and embarked on an unknown journey. The light from the portal suddenly burst out, covering the entire room in a dazzling light. Harder and the Ancient One mage stared at the portal, their hearts filled with worry and expectation. They know that Lin Nan's choice will affect the fate of the entire world, but they believe that he will be able to make the right decision and face everything in the future bravely. Their faith and hope turned into a powerful force, guiding Lin Nan towards the unknown front. In the dazzling light, the portal gradually disappeared, leaving only silence and mystery. However, an unexpected encounter changed his life. After an afternoon meal, he met a mysterious old man. The old man held an ancient pocket watch in his hand with a sparkling gemstone inlaid on the surface. The old man told Lin Nan that this pocket watch has the power to transcend time and can travel through time and space to find lost memories. Attracted by this mysterious story, Lin Nan accepted the old man's invitation and embarked on a fantastic journey. In the process of traveling, he experienced countless adventures and challenges, witnessed the changes in history, and felt the passage of time. During this journey, Lin Nan not only discovered the secret hidden deep in his heart, but also met many like-minded partners. They face various difficulties together and work together to find the truth behind the pocket watch. However, as the journey progresses, Lin Nan gradually realizes that the pocket watch is not a simple treasure, but an artifact carrying huge responsibilities. He must learn to control this power, otherwise it may have disastrous consequences. Thus, Lin Nan began a battle with time. He continued to learn and grow, trying to master the power of the pocket watch, and at the same time, he continued to search for the answers in his heart. He understands that only by facing the past bravely can he have a bright future. Lin Nan and his partner Li Yalin are now in an ancient city, Kamataj. They are holding an ancient file, which contains precious information about the history of this city. This dossier is crucial to their investigation because it may reveal some secrets hidden deep in time. The streets of Kamataj are narrow and crowded, and the buildings on both sides are simple and mysterious, as if every stone carries the memory of the past. Lin Nan and Li Yalin shuttled through the streets of the city, looking for clues. "We have to find someone who can interpret this dossier," Lin Nan said, his eyes scanning the surrounding environment, hoping to find a clue. "Yes, but in this city, it is not easy for us to find people like that," Li Yalin added, her eyes searching everywhere. Suddenly, their eyes focused on an old bookstore in the distance. This bookstore looks a little shabby, but the sign hanging at the door reads, "Collection of Ancient Books, Inheritance of History." This seemed to be the place they were looking for. The two walked quickly to the bookstore, opened the door, and were greeted by the smell of old books. The bookstore is filled with all kinds of ancient books and documents, and the walls are covered with ancient maps and photos. "Hello, we are looking for an expert who can interpret ancient documents. Can you help us?" Lin Nan asked politely. An old man who looked old came over, his eyes revealed a kind of wisdom and vicissitudes of life. "Dossier, let me see it." The old man took the dossier and carefully studied the words and patterns on it. Lin Nan and Li Yalin waited nervously for the old man's answer, knowing that this file might contain countless valuable information. "This is a very precious piece of information," the old man finally said, his voice low and powerful. "Kamataj has a long and mysterious history. This file may be able to help you uncover some mysteries." Lin Nan and Li Yalin breathed a sigh of relief. They finally found an expert who could interpret the dossier. However, the contents of this file are not easy to interpret, the old man continued, his eyes fixed on the file. "I need some time to study it." "No problem, we can wait," Li Yalin said, with a hint of expectation in her voice. So Lin Nan and Li Yalin waited in the bookstore for several hours. During this period, the old man marked the files from time to time and thought about the meaning. Finally, the old man returned the file to them and gave some explanations and suggestions about the contents of the file. "Thank you for your help." Lin Nan and Li Yalin expressed their gratitude to the old man, and then continued their investigative journey with expectations for the future. Lin Nan and Li Yalin continue their investigation in Kamataj, but they are becoming more and more curious about the history of this ancient city, especially about some apocalyptic events that have happened in the past. So, they decided to check all known doomsday times and places, hoping to find some clues. They came to an abandoned library. The library was once the cultural center of the city, but it had been abandoned for many years after a certain doomsday event. Entering the library, the smell of old books hit your face, and the bookshelves on the walls were filled with dusty books and materials. "This place looks like it has been abandoned for a long time," Li Yalin said with a frown, carefully avoiding the shredded papers and books scattered on the floor. "Yes, but maybe there is some useful information hidden here," Lin Nan said, and he began to search on the bookshelf. After some searching, they finally found an ancient atlas that marked the locations of several known apocalyptic events. These locations are scattered around the world, from abandoned city ruins to deserts and deep forests. "Look, this is what we are looking for," Li Yalin said excitedly, pointing to the mark on the map. "We have to go to these locations one by one, maybe we can find some clues," Lin Nan said, his eyes shining with determination. As a result, Lin Nan and Li Yalin embarked on a new investigative journey. They went to the locations where doomsday events occurred, looking for secrets hidden deep in history. The first destination is an abandoned city. It was once a bustling city, but after a catastrophic event, the entire city turned into ruins. Chapter 71. This will be a tough battle. The Ancient One Mage's voice was calm and firm, but we cannot retreat, we must fight to the end to protect the peace and tranquility of Kamataj. Lin Nan nodded, his eyes flashing with determination. He knew that he had to act as soon as possible, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. He is determined to expose this conspiracy and let everyone know the truth so that the peace of Kamal Taj will no longer be threatened. As they approached their goal, Lin Nan began to think about his true purpose. He began to recall everything in the past, trying to find out the reason why he was involved in this conspiracy. His thoughts were chaotic, and he felt as if he was in a strange world, and everything became blurred and distorted. However, as time passed, his thinking gradually became clearer. He realized that his real purpose was not to protect the peace of Kamataj, but to break the sacred timeline and bring down the world. "I have always been a part of the villain." Lin Nan's voice was full of self-blame and anger. "I was their accomplice, I helped them break the sacred timeline and bring down the world." There is an atmosphere of deathly silence and desolation permeating the ruins, and every building seems to be telling the story of its past glory and vicissitudes. What happened here? Li Yalin stared around, her heart full of questions. This city was once a technologically advanced center, but after a catastrophic nuclear explosion, the entire city was destroyed, Lin Nan explained, with a hint of sadness in his voice. They searched for clues in the ruins, hoping to find some truth about the disaster. After some hard work, they finally found some ancient documents and records, recording various events and stories that happened that year. Then, they went to the depths of a desert, which was once an oasis, but after a large-scale climate change, the entire area became a barren land. In this desert, they discovered some ancient relics and fossils, recording the life and civilization at that time. After a period of investigation, Lin Nan and Li Yalin gradually learned that these doomsday events did not happen by chance, but were caused by human greed and ignorance. They know that only by understanding history can mankind avoid repeating the same mistakes and move towards a better future. As Lin Nan and Li Yalin continued their investigation, they came to a strange town. This small town is located next to a lush forest. The surrounding environment is quiet and peaceful, as if isolated from the world. The two decided to take a short rest here and exchange their thoughts and discoveries. They found a quiet little cafe and sat by the window. They could see the lush trees outside the window and the mountains in the distance. Lin Nan ordered a cup of coffee, while Li Yalin chose a cup of hot tea, and the two began to chat about their experiences and feelings. "You know, during our investigation last time, I discovered some interesting things about Lin Nan," Li Yalin said, with a hint of curiosity in her voice. Oh, what happened? Lin Nan showed a surprised expression. He was not very clear about his past. Remember the villain Lin Nan we mentioned last time? When he committed a crime, he gave some blue candies to the children, Li Yalin said, with a trace of doubt in her eyes. Hearing this reminder, some vague memories suddenly appeared in Lin Nan's mind. He seemed to remember that he had done some bad things, but the details were vague. Yes, I remember, Lin Nan nodded gently, his expression a little complicated, but I don't know for what purpose I did that behavior at the time. Perhaps you didn't realize at the time how your actions would affect others, Li Yalin comforted. She understood Lin Nan's inner confusion. They were silent for a while, each one lost in his own thoughts. Lin Nan began to recall all kinds of things in his past, trying to find some clues to understand his past. Suddenly, some fragments appeared in his mind, and he saw a little boy holding the blue candy he gave him with a smile on his face. This picture made him feel warm, as if a ray of sunshine fell on his heart. I think I should go find that little boy and apologize to him, Lin Nan said, determined to make up for his past mistakes. Li Yalin looked at him with a smile. She knew that Lin Nan was a kind and strong person. No matter what difficulties he encountered, he could bravely face and solve them. During the investigation, Lin Nan and Li Yalin came to an ancient temple hidden in a dense jungle. They pushed open the heavy stone door and stepped into this mysterious building. The temple is filled with an ancient atmosphere, with mysterious runes and patterns carved on the walls. It looks like it has been here for a long time, Li Yalin said softly, her eyes looking around curiously. Yes, this temple may have a long history, Lin Nan replied, his eyes staying deep in the temple. Suddenly, a faint light flashed out from the depths of the temple, attracting their attention. They walked towards the source of the light and found a mysterious stone platform hidden in the corner. There is an ancient jade box placed on the stone platform, emitting a faint light. What is this? Li Yalin asked in surprise, her eyes widening. Lin Nan walked to the jade box and opened it gently. There is a crystal clear blue gemstone inside, which emits a strange light. Lin Nan stretched out his hand and gently touched the gem, feeling a mysterious power. Suddenly, his mind went blank, as if a refreshing breeze blew by, making him suddenly enlightened. He felt that his thinking became clearer, as if he had gained an insight beyond ordinary people. This gem seems a little special, Lin Nan said softly, with a hint of wonder in his voice. Li Yalin also felt the mysterious aura exuded by the gems, and her eyes shone with excitement. Maybe this is the clue we've been looking for, she said, her voice full of anticipation. Lin Nan carefully took out the gem and put it into his pocket. They decided to continue their investigation with this gem, perhaps it could help them find more clues and answers. When leaving the temple, Lin Nan's heart was full of anticipation and excitement. He knew that this gem might be the key to solving the mystery, and he was determined to use it in the right direction to help himself and Li Yalin find the truth they were looking for. As they continued their investigation, Lin Nan and Li Yalin decided to compare the time of the end of the world with the time of the blue candy case Lin Nan was involved in, hoping to find some meaningful clues. They returned to their base of investigation and began to carefully study the time clues between the two. Lin Nan was flipping through various materials at the table, while Li Yalin was looking for relevant records and documents. We have to find the connection between the two as soon as possible, Lin Nan said, his voice full of tension and anxiety. Yes, I think there must be some connection between the two, Li Yalin agreed, her brows furrowed. After some investigation, they finally discovered some interesting facts. According to records, the end of the world occurred decades ago when a series of catastrophic events plunged the world into chaos and destruction. The blue candy case involving Lin Nan occurred shortly after the Doomsday Incident, when he was still a young child. It seems that there is indeed some overlap in time between the two, Lin Nan said, and he began to have some ideas in his mind. Perhaps during that chaotic period, Lin Nan was affected in some way, which led to his subsequent behavior, Li Yalin guessed, trying to clarify the ins and outs of the matter. Lin Nan pondered, trying to recall that vague memory. He remembered that when he was a child, he once gave blue candy to a little boy, but at that time he did not know how his behavior would affect others. Now it seems that perhaps there is some connection between that experience and the events of the end of the world. Suddenly, a weird laughter sounded, coming from the depths of the warehouse, as if it was laughter coming from hell. What is this sound? Harder asked in horror. Lin Nan didn't answer. He looked around vigilantly, trying to find the source of the sound. At this moment, a black shadow suddenly appeared in front of them, and a powerful force pushed them back. Be careful, Lin Nan shouted and tried to protect Harder. But the black shadow was already menacing and approaching quickly. Hader retreated suddenly, trying to escape, but was grabbed by the shadow. No, Lin Nan shouted loudly, trying to rescue Hader. But the power of the black shadow is too strong, and they can't resist it. Hader was dragged deep into the warehouse by the shadow, and his body gradually lost control. Lin Nan, go and save him. Xiaoming's voice suddenly sounded, and he hurried to the warehouse. Lin Nan did not hesitate. He rushed towards the shadow and tried to rescue Harder from the control of the shadow. They started a fierce fight, with fists and feet intertwined, and their figures entangled. Let him go, Lin Nan roared angrily, trying his best. But the power of the black shadow is still extremely powerful, and Lin Nan feels that he is gradually unable to do what he wants. Just when he was about to lose his strength, he suddenly remembered the laboratory found in the warehouse. Blue candy. Lin Nan's heart moved, and he suddenly thought of a possible solution. He tried his best to break free from the shadow and quickly rushed to the laboratory. In the laboratory, he found a bottle of blue liquid that he had discovered earlier. Maybe this is the answer. Lin Nan was determined, and he poured the liquid into a test tube without hesitation. The liquid in the test tube gave off a strange smell, as if a mysterious energy was surging. Lin Nan picked up the test tube and rushed back to where the black shadow was. You must drink this. Lin Nan shouted loudly. There was a trace of confusion in Hard's eyes, but he still took the test tube without hesitation and drank the liquid in one gulp. Suddenly, a powerful energy burst out from Hader's body, knocking back the black shadow. His body gradually regained its freedom, and he struggled to stand up. Thank you, Lin Nan. Harder gasped, his expression full of gratitude. We have to get out of here quickly, this place is not safe. Lin Nan warned. The three people hurriedly left the warehouse and returned to the camp. They know that this battle may be just the beginning, and more difficult challenges are yet to come. As Lin Nan, Hade and Xiaoming hurriedly left the warehouse, they returned to the safety of the camp. However, Lin Nan's heart was always full of doubts. What is the dark shadow they face? Why do people possess and control other people's bodies? After returning to the camp, the three started a lively discussion. What is that black shadow? How does he control people's bodies? Xiaoming asked with a frown. I don't know, but I think it's related to the blue candy case we investigated before. Lin Nan said thoughtfully. Blue candy. Did they discover a drug that can control people's minds? Harder asked in surprise. The possibility is not small. We must find clues as soon as possible to prevent the spread of this drug. Lin Nan said decisively. After discussion, the three decided to re-examine the previous investigation records and look for more clues. They conducted in-depth analysis of some experimental data and research reports previously investigated, trying to find out the truth hidden behind it. Maybe we should find the people involved in the blue candy case, maybe they know more about the situation. Xiaoming suggested. Yes, we can't miss any possible clues. Lin Nan nodded in agreement. As a result, the three decided to work separately to find those involved in the blue candy case. Lin Nan and Hade were in a group, while Xiaoming was alone. Lin Nan and Hader came to a small town near a laboratory said to be related to the blue candy case, trying to find local residents for questioning. We should first go to the municipal office of this town to inquire about the situation. Lin Nan suggested. They came to the municipal office and looked for local residents to inquire. After some inquiries, they finally found an insider, an old man. What do you know about the blue candy case? Lin Nan pleaded. The old man frowned, seeming to be recalling the past. That was many years ago. I remember that there was a laboratory nearby that was conducting a secret experiment. It was said to be studying a new drug called blue candy. The old man said. Do you know the specific location of that laboratory? Harder asked eagerly. The old man nodded and told them the general direction of the laboratory. Thank you, we will investigate as soon as possible. Lin Nan said gratefully. They hurriedly left the municipal office and rushed towards the laboratory. But just as they were about to leave the town, a young woman suddenly appeared in front of them. Lin Nan and Harder drove to the first experimental site, which was an abandoned factory in the suburbs. They walked into the factory gate, and the scene around them felt eerie. Abandoned machinery and equipment and rusty walls stand against the blue sky, seeming to tell of its past glory. This place looks really desolate. I think we need to search carefully, Lin Nan said. Yes, we must find clues as soon as possible and leave this weird place. Harder agreed. The two began to search carefully inside the factory. They looked through every corner, trying to find any useful clues. In a corner, they found a closed laboratory. Maybe we should go in and take a look, maybe we can find some useful clues, Lin Nan suggested. Hard nodded, and the two decided to enter the laboratory. They opened the door and entered an old laboratory. There were various instruments and equipment on the experimental table, and the walls were covered with experimental data and research reports. It seems that some important experiments have been conducted here. Maybe we can find clues about the villain Lin Nan, Harder said. The two began to carefully examine every corner of the laboratory, trying to find clues about the blue candy case. In a corner, they found a record of the experiment. This record may be of some use. We should take it back and study it carefully, Lin Nan said. They put the records in their arms, then left the laboratory and returned to the camp. At the same time, Xiaoming went to another experimental location alone, which was an abandoned laboratory on the edge of the city. The outside of the laboratory has been completely swallowed up by the power of nature, with grass overgrown and the walls covered with vines. Xiaoming walked into the laboratory and carefully searched every corner. On an experimental bench, he found a bottle of blue liquid. Is this the raw material of blue candy? Xiaoming wondered. He carefully picked up the bottle and planned to take it back for analysis. At this moment, he suddenly heard a slight noise. Is anyone here? Xiaoming was alert and quickly hid. A figure appeared at the door of the laboratory. He was wearing a black coat and holding a pistol in his hand. It seems I've found the right place, the man said coldly. Xiaoming was secretly frightened, knowing that he was in danger. Who are you? Why are you here? Xiaoming tried to calm himself. The man didn't answer. He walked straight towards Xiaoming, his eyes cold. Xiaoming did not back down. He knew he had to persevere. While Lin Nan and Harder were looking for clues in the factory, they suddenly heard a muffled sound coming from the direction of the warehouse. They immediately became vigilant and cautiously approached the warehouse. The warehouse door was closed, and everything seemed quiet on the surface, but Lin Nan's intuition told him that things were not simple. They quietly lurked outside the warehouse door, trying to peek inside. What do you think is in there? Harder asked quietly. I'm not sure, but we have to be careful, Lin Nan said warily. They decided to sneak into the warehouse to see what was going on. Lin Nan quietly opened the warehouse door, and the two quickly stepped in, preparing to deal with any possible danger. The interior of the warehouse was dark, with only weak light coming through the cracks in the ceiling. They moved forward cautiously, trying to find the source of the sound. Suddenly, they heard a low groan, as if it was the sound of a person being hurt. Over there, Lin Nan pointed to a corner deep in the warehouse. The two walked over quickly and found a man lying on the ground. His body was covered in blood and he looked seriously injured. Someone, come quickly. Lin Nan immediately rushed forward to check the condition of the injured. Harder followed closely, and they helped the injured man up and tried to give him simple first aid. Why are you here? What happened? Lin Nan asked anxiously. The injured man opened his eyes with difficulty. His face was pale and his forehead was covered with sweat. I was possessed by that madman. He controlled my body, the injured person said weakly. Lin Nan and Hader looked at each other, knowing that they were in real danger. We must leave here as soon as possible, we can't stay in this place anymore, Lin Nan said nervously. They helped the injured man up and prepared to take him out of the warehouse. But at this moment, the door of the warehouse was forcefully closed and locked by someone from the outside. We're trapped, Harder said in horror. Lin Nan frowned. They were in an extremely dangerous situation. As the warehouse door was tightly closed, Lin Nan and Hader were trapped in the dark space. They looked around warily, trying to find a way to escape. We must find a way to open this door, otherwise we will be trapped here, Lin Nan said anxiously. They tried to push the door open, but it closed tightly and showed no signs of loosening. We must find the little boy and understand his experiences and feelings. Maybe this can help us solve the mystery, said Lin Nan, determined to make up for his past mistakes. Li Yalin nodded. She knew that this was a difficult past for Lin Nan to face, but she believed that he had the courage to face and solve it. While tracking the little boy, Lin Nan and Li Yalin accidentally discovered a seemingly forgotten abandoned factory. There are overgrown weeds around the factory, and the dilapidated buildings are covered with vines, which seem to have been forgotten by the passage of time. It looks like no one has been here for a long time, Li Yalin whispered, her eyes looking around. Yes, but maybe this is the place we are looking for, Lin Nan said, his eyes lingering on the abandoned building. They carefully walked through the weeds and came to the factory gate. The door is rusty and half open, as if telling the story of its past glory and vicissitudes. Lin Nan reached out and pushed open the door, making a dull sound. Entering the factory, a stale smell hits your face. The old machines and equipment have been abandoned in the corner, and the factory building is covered with dust and cobwebs. But in this desolation, they felt an unusual atmosphere. The dark passage was cold and damp, and the walls were covered with moss and vines. They walked cautiously, not knowing what dangers lay ahead. Suddenly, they heard footsteps in the distance, as if someone was walking towards them. Lin Nan and Li Yalin immediately stopped and prepared to face possible dangers. It seems like someone has been here before, Li Yalin frowned and looked around alertly. Lin Nan frowned. His intuition told him that this abandoned factory might hide some secrets. They began to search carefully, hoping to find some clues. In a corner, they discovered a covered basement entrance. Lin Nan opened the floor, revealing the entrance to a secret passage. They walked into the secret passage without hesitation, pursuing the mysterious aura. Who is there? A deep voice suddenly sounded, startling them. Lin Nan and Li Yalin exchanged a glance, then slowly turned around. In the dim light, they saw a figure walking out of the darkness. It was the villain Lin Nan. Are you Lin Nan? Li Yalin asked in surprise. She didn't expect that they would see him here. Lin Nan frowned, his expression seemed a bit complicated. He looked at the person opposite, as if thinking about what to say. Yes, I am Lin Nan, he finally said, with a hint of bitterness in his voice. In the dim light of the abandoned factory, Lin Nan and Li Yalin faced the sudden appearance of the villain Lin Nan, and the atmosphere was solemn and tense. Why are you hiding here? Li Yalin's voice was filled with confusion as she tried to understand the other party's intentions. The villain Lin Nan was silent for a while, as if thinking about how to answer. Finally, he spoke slowly. I'm waiting here, waiting for that moment to come. That moment, what are you waiting for? Lin Nan's voice revealed a hint of vigilance, and he tried to grasp the clues in the other party's words. Just when Lin Nan and Xiaoming were about to leave the secret room, a sharp sound suddenly cut through the silent air, as if it was a siren from afar. What is this sound? Xiaoming asked alertly, looking around. Lin Nan frowned, trying to identify the source of the sound. Suddenly, they heard footsteps, and it seemed that someone was walking towards the secret room. Someone is coming, Lin Nan reminded in a low voice. The two quickly hid in a corner of the secret room and carefully observed the situation at the door. As the footsteps gradually approached, a figure appeared at the door. He was wearing black clothes and a hat, covering most of his face. Who is that? Xiaoming asked in a low voice, staring at the door. Lin Nan did not answer. He held the weapon in his hand tightly and watched the situation at the door warily. The figure stopped at the door and seemed to be observing the surroundings. Suddenly, he turned around and walked towards the secret room. He's here, Xiaoming said nervously. Lin Nan's eyes narrowed, and he decided to head on to prevent the other party from discovering them. When the figure entered the secret room, Lin Nan suddenly jumped out of the darkness and rushed towards the figure. The two started a fierce fight, fists and feet intertwined, and their figures entangled. Hurry up, we have to get out of here, Lin Nan shouted to Xiaoming. Xiaoming reacted immediately and joined the fight. The two cooperated tacitly, and with a 2-on-1 advantage, they forced each other into a corner. Finally, they succeeded in subduing the mysterious intruder and tied him up. Who are you? Why are you here? Lin Nan asked sternly. The man was silent for a while, then raised his head and showed a sarcastic smile. Do you think you can stop me? He said coldly. Lin Nan and Xiaoming looked at each other with an ominous premonition in their hearts. We must leave here as soon as possible without any further delay, Lin Nan said, realizing that the situation may be more dangerous than they imagined. The two untied the man, left him temporarily in the secret room, and then hurriedly left the warehouse. They returned outside to find that the sky had returned to clear skies and the air was crisp and clear after the storm. We must return as soon as possible to study that document and find out the true purpose of the villain Lin Nan, Xiaoming said, his expression solemn. Yes, we can't wait any longer. Lin Nan nodded, and then the two quickly left the ruins and returned to their camp. On the way back to the camp, Lin Nan and Xiaoming discussed the next plan. We must return to the camp as soon as possible to analyze the contents of the document and find clues about the villain Lin Nan, Lin Nan said. Yes, we can't waste any more time. Xiaoming nodded in agreement. Suddenly, Harder came over, with a trace of seriousness on his face. Lin Nan, I want to act with you, Hader said. Lin Nan frowned. He knew that Harder usually liked to be alone and rarely cooperated with others. Why? Lin Nan asked. Because I am responsible for supervising this cunning person. Harder's eyes flashed with vigilance. Lin Nan pondered for a moment and finally nodded. Okay, let's act together, Lin Nan said. So, the three of them returned to the camp together. There, they began to carefully analyze the contents of the document, trying to find clues about the villain Lin Nan. The document contains some information about the Blue Candy Project, including experimental data, research reports, etc. But there is not much personal information about the villain Lin Nan, only some scattered records. This document does not provide much information about the villain Lin Nan. Xiaoming frowned. Maybe we need more clues to find him, Harder added. Lin Nan thought for a moment and then said, we can re-examine the previous investigation and maybe find some missing clues. As a result, the three re-study the previous investigation records and try to find key clues. They carefully analyzed every detail and tried to connect all the information. I found some interesting clues that may help us find the villain Lin Nan, Xiaoming said suddenly. He pointed to a record of the Blue Candy experiment, which contains some information about the location and participants. These clues seem to be consistent with our previous investigations. Lin Nan frowned. Maybe we should re-investigate these experimental sites and maybe we can find some new clues, Harder suggested. As a result, the three decided to split up and re-investigate the previous experimental location, trying to find clues about the villain Lin Nan. After discussion, the three decided to split up. Lin Nan and Hader were in a group, while Xiaoming was alone. They decided to re-investigate the previous experimental location, trying to find clues about the villain Lin Nan. I found some interesting clues that may help us find the villain Lin Nan, Xiaoming said suddenly. It seems that the weather is getting worse and worse. We must find a place to take shelter as soon as possible to avoid being hit by the storm, Lin Nan suggested. The two quickened their pace and looked for a place to take refuge. At the entrance of an ancient cave, they found a relatively safe refuge. Let's hide in a cave first and wait for the storm to pass, Xiaoming suggested. The two hurriedly entered the cave and took cover. The violent wind brought by the storm howled, the raindrops hit the cave entrance feverishly, and the cave was filled with the sound of howling wind. This storm is so powerful, it seems we have to wait here for a while, Lin Nan said, his voice was drowned by the wind. Yes, we can only wait until the storm has passed. Xiaoming was also filled with helplessness. In the cave, the two quietly waited for the storm to end. Time seemed to slow down extremely slowly, and every second seemed to torture their mood. Suddenly, the storm weakened, the rain stopped, and the sky began to clear. They breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that the storm was over. It seems that the storm has passed and we can move on, Lin Nan encouraged Xiaoming. The two walked out of the cave and embarked on their journey again. Although the storm brought some obstacles, their determination remained unwavering. Finally, they came to a possible hiding place, the location of the Alabama hurricane in 2050. The place is in a mess, ruins are scattered around, and trees have been destroyed by the hurricane, making it a desolate scene. This place seems to have been hit by a terrible hurricane. The villain Lin Nan is probably hiding here, Lin Nan said, scanning the surrounding ruins. Yes, we must be careful and not take it lightly. Xiaoming held the weapon in his hand tightly, ready to deal with possible dangers at any time. The two began to search for clues in the ruins, hoping to find traces of the villain Lin Nan. They carefully observed every damaged building, looking for any possible clues. After searching among the ruins for a while, Lin Nan and Xiaoming discovered a seemingly abandoned supermarket warehouse. The warehouse door was ajar, revealing a hint of darkness and gloom. Maybe we should go in and take a look. Maybe there are some important clues hidden there, Lin Nan suggested. Xiaoming nodded, and the two of them walked into the warehouse cautiously. An old smell came to my face, and dust accumulated thickly on the wall, as if no one had been there for a long time. It looks like no one has been to this warehouse for a long time. Maybe we are really in the right place, Xiaoming said, with expectation shining in his eyes. They began searching the warehouse for clues. There were some old goods on the shelves and some sundries piled in the corner. There seemed to be nothing of note. Suddenly, Lin Nan noticed a secret door on the wall of the warehouse. The door was covered with a thin layer of dust and seemed to have not been opened for a long time. Maybe we should see what's hidden there. Lin Nan pointed at the secret door and said. Xiaoming walked over and opened the secret door. A gloomy wind blows in the face, making people shudder. They picked up their flashlights and carefully walked into the secret door. The secret door leads to a narrow passage, with dark and damp walls on both sides, and some gravel and debris scattered on the ground. It looks very gloomy here, we have to be careful, Xiaoming said warily. They went deep into the passage, taking every step cautiously. At the end of the passage is an iron door, which is rusty and has obviously not been opened for a long time. Lin Nan tried to push open the iron door, but the door was closed tightly and seemed to be blocked by something. This door is locked. We must find the key to open it, Lin Nan said. The two looked around for traces of the key. In a corner of the passage, they found a bunch of keys hanging on a hook on the wall. It seems we have found the key. Let's try it quickly, Xiaoming said excitedly. Lin Nan took off the key and tried to open the iron door. After some fiddling, I finally managed to unlock the door. After opening the door, they found a secret room filled with various items, including electronic equipment, documents, etc. This looks very much like the hiding place of the villain Lin Nan. We must continue to search to see if we can find any traces of him, Lin Nan said. They began to carefully examine every corner of the secret room, trying to find clues to the villain Lin Nan. Among a pile of documents, they found a document called Blue Candy Plan. This document records some information about the Blue Candy case. It seems that we have found the right place, Xiaoming said. They studied the documents carefully, trying to find clues about the villain Lin Nan. The file records some experiments and research on blue candies, as well as some personal information about the villain Lin Nan. This document may be the key clue we found. We must take it back and study it carefully, Lin Nan said with a serious expression. I'm waiting for the judgment to come. The villain Lin Nan's eyes flashed with a hint of fanaticism, and his words were full of incredible mystery. Lin Nan and Li Yalin exchanged glances, feeling a strong sense of uneasiness in their hearts. They realized that there may be a greater conspiracy and danger hidden behind the villain Lin Nan's remarks. What are you talking about? Li Yalin tried to calm down her emotions, her voice trembling slightly. I was chosen, and I have an important mission. The villain Lin Nan's voice became more and more excited, and his eyes flashed with fanaticism. Lin Nan and Li Yalin looked at the person in front of them in astonishment, feeling filled with confusion and uneasiness. They tried to clear their minds and find solutions. Suddenly, there were whistling sounds from a distance, as if a strong wind was approaching. Their hearts were suddenly startled, and Lin Nan immediately remembered the recent hurricane attack in Alabama. We have to get out of here quickly, Lin Nan shouted loudly, realizing that the danger in front of him was far more urgent than the villain they were facing. They hurriedly left the abandoned factory and hurried outside. The wind became more and more fierce, and the howling became more and more deafening. Li Yalin held Lin Nan's hand tightly, and they supported each other and moved forward with difficulty in a safe direction. Under the raging hurricane, they felt the fragility and insignificance of life. However, an unyielding courage and hope still ignited in their hearts. They believed that as long as they persisted, they would eventually be able to survive the current crisis. They hurriedly left the abandoned factory and hurried outside. The wind became more and more fierce, and the howling became more and more deafening. Li Yalin held Lin Nan's hand tightly. Faced with the threat of the Alabama hurricane, Lin Nan and Li Yalin decided to seek more support. They contacted an Ancient One mage, hoping to get some useful help from him. The Ancient One mage is a mysterious figure with otherworldly abilities. They came to the place where Master Ancient One was, an ancient temple hidden deep in the valley. The temple is quiet and solemn, surrounded by towering peaks, giving people a sense of being beyond this world. "We need your help, Master Ancient One." Lin Nan's voice was full of sincerity and expectation. He hoped that Master Ancient One could give them support and guidance. The Ancient One mage stood there quietly, his eyes deep and mysterious. He seemed to have foreseen their arrival and was not surprised by their request. "The crisis you are facing is not something that ordinary people can handle." The Ancient One mage's voice was low and powerful, as if carrying a supernatural power. "We have tried our best, but the situation is becoming more and more dangerous," Li Yalin said, with a hint of anxiety in her voice. The Ancient One mage thought silently for a while, and then slowly said, "I can provide you with some help, but the condition is that you must agree to my request." "Please tell us, what do you need us to do?" Lin Nan asked, knowing that the Ancient One mage would never make a request easily. "I need you to help me complete a task." The Ancient One mage's eyes were as bright as fire. Through a power that transcended time and space, he seemed to be able to see all future possibilities. Lin Nan and Li Yalin looked at each other, knowing that the task of the Ancient One mage would never be easy. But in order to solve the immediate crisis, they must accept this challenge. "We promise you," Lin Nan said solemnly, his voice full of determination and confidence. "These files seem to record the time of the end of the world and related events. Maybe we should study it carefully to see if there are any useful clues," Xiaoming suggested. Lin Nan and Xiaoming began to study these files, trying to find a connection between the time of the end of the world and the time of the blue candy case. They carefully analyzed every detail, hoping to find clues to the answer. These documents record various rumors and predictions about the end of the world, but there is no mention of information related to the blue candy case. Lin Nan said thoughtfully, "Maybe we should continue to look for other clues and see if we can find more clues," Xiaoming suggested. They decided to move on and look for more clues. In an ancient ruins, they found an object that shone with blue light, which seemed to be a blue candy. "This blue candy, is it related to the blue candy case?" Xiaoming asked in surprise. "It seems that we have found a key clue. We must investigate clearly as soon as possible," Lin Nan said with firm eyes. They began to investigate the blue candy, trying to find out the connection between it and the blue candy case. They analyzed the ingredients and origin of the candies, trying to find clues. "This blue candy seems to be closely related to the blue candy case. Maybe we should continue to track it and see if we can find more clues," Xiaoming suggested. "Yes, we can't stop, we must find the answer to the truth as soon as possible," Lin Nan agreed. The two are determined to continue investigating the blue candy case, hoping to find clues to the truth and unravel the mystery. Lin Nan and Xiaoming are immersed in the investigation of the doomsday time and the blue candy case. They shuttled through ancient ruins and mysterious relics, looking for clues and trying to uncover the truth of the incident. In an ancient abandoned city, they discovered a forgotten underground laboratory. The entrance to the laboratory was covered with thick stone slabs and looked like it had been abandoned for many years. "It seems that some mysterious experiments have been conducted here. Maybe this is the place we are looking for." Lin Nan's eyes flashed with excitement. "Yes, I feel the same way. We must enter the laboratory and see if there are any useful clues," Xiaoming agreed. The two of them worked together to remove the stone slab and open the entrance to the laboratory. A stale breath hit their faces, making them frown. They entered the laboratory and looked for clues. In a corner, they found an old diary. "This diary records some experiments and research in this laboratory. Maybe we should read it carefully and see if we can find some useful information," Xiaoming suggested. Lin Nan took the diary and studied it carefully. The diary recorded some information about the blue candy case, which made them feel a sense of expectation. "This information seems to be consistent with our previous investigations. Maybe this is the clue we are looking for," Lin Nan said. Yes, I think so too. We must sort out this information as soon as possible to see if there are any useful clues. Xiao Ming agreed. They carefully studied the information in the diary, trying to find clues about the blue candy case. During their research, Lin Nan suddenly discovered a particularly eye-catching piece of content. This content seems to describe a possible hiding place. Maybe that is the hiding place of the villain we are looking for, Lin Nan. Lin Nan said excitedly. Great, we finally found the key clue. We must go to that place as soon as possible to see if we can find any trace of the villain Lin Nan. Xiao Ming said excitedly. They decided to set off immediately to the possible hiding place, hoping to find the villain Lin Nan and unravel the truth of this mystery. Lin Nan and Xiao Ming quickly set off to a possible hiding place. They passed through an ancient forest and trekked through desolate mountains. The scenery along the way was beautiful but full of challenges. It seems that this journey will not be easy, but as long as we have confidence and courage, we will be able to overcome all difficulties. Lin Nan encouraged Xiao Ming, although they faced unknown dangers. Yes, we can't give up. We must find the villain Lin Nan and unravel the truth of this mystery. Xiao Ming expressed determination. During their journey, suddenly, the sky suddenly became gloomy and covered with dark clouds, as if indicating an upcoming storm. The wind howled and the trees swayed, seeming to be preparing for the coming storm. It seems that we triggered some mechanism. Maybe this is the answer we are looking for. Lin Nan's eyes flashed with determination. The light gradually disappeared, and the temple returned to tranquility. Lin Nan and Xiao Ming were full of expectations. They knew that they were approaching the edge of the truth. We must keep moving forward and not stop. Maybe the truth is waiting for us not far away. Lin Nan's voice was full of determination. Yes, we can't give up, we must find the answer to the truth. Xiao Ming said firmly. The two once again devoted themselves to searching for clues. They knew that they had reached a critical moment in this adventure. Lin Nan and Xiao Ming stood in the center of the temple, surrounded by silence. They stared at the light on the stone tablet, their hearts filled with anticipation and uneasiness. This light, is it guiding us in the direction? Xiao Ming tried to clear his mind. Maybe, we can't rule out any possibility. Maybe this is the answer we are looking for. Lin Nan's voice was full of determination. They decided to follow the light's lead and see where it would lead them. The light gradually extended toward the depths of the temple. They followed the light, passed through an ancient arch, and came to a mysterious space. This space is wide and deep, with an ancient atmosphere exuding all around. In the center of the space, there is an ancient altar, with a gem that shines with strange light placed on it. This gem looks extraordinary. Maybe it is the answer we are looking for, Xiao Ming said with firm eyes. Lin Nan stepped forward and observed the gem carefully. The gem exudes a strange light and seems to contain endless power and wisdom. I can feel a strange energy, as if this gem is closely related to ancient civilization. Lin Nan's voice was full of excitement and curiosity. Suddenly, the gem emits a dazzling light, illuminating the entire space. Lin Nan and Xiao Ming's eyes lit up, and then they closed their eyes, not daring to look directly. The light gradually disappeared. They opened their eyes and found themselves in a brand new space. In front of them, a mysterious portal appeared, exuding a mysterious atmosphere. What is this place? Xiao Ming asked in surprise. I don't know, but I think this is the answer we are really looking for, Lin Nan said with firm eyes. They decided to go through the mysterious portal and see where it would lead them. The door slowly opened, exuding a powerful attraction. We have to be careful, maybe this door will lead us to unknown dangers, Lin Nan reminded Xiao Ming. I understand, but we can't stop, we must move forward bravely, Xiao Ming said firmly. The two worked together and stepped into the mysterious portal. A powerful force involved them, and the surrounding scene changed rapidly, and they seemed to be in a brand new world. They crossed the barriers of time and space and came to a strange and mysterious place. Here, they will face unprecedented challenges and tests, but they are determined not to give up easily. They believe that as long as they work together, they will be able to find the answer to the truth and unlock the secret of Kamatage. Lin Nan and Xiao Ming passed through the mysterious portal and came to a strange and mysterious place. The air here is filled with an ancient and mysterious atmosphere, which makes people feel nervous and excited involuntarily. This place is really awe-inspiring. Xiaoming looked around and sighed. Yes, this place is full of unknown dangers and challenges. But I believe that as long as we work together, we will be able to overcome all difficulties. Lin Nan's voice was full of confidence and determination. They began to explore this mysterious place, hoping to find some clues. Inside an ancient building, they found an ancient book, which recorded an ancient legend. This book seems to record some history and legends about this place. Maybe we should study it carefully, Xiaoming said. Lin Nan and Xiaoming began to read this ancient book carefully. The book records some ancient legends and mysterious events about this place, which filled their hearts with curiosity and excitement. These legends are really unimaginable. Maybe this is the purpose of our adventure, Lin Nan said. Yes, I think so too. We must continue to explore and find clues to the truth, Xiaoming expressed support. As they continued to explore, suddenly, a strange light came from the distance and enveloped them. They felt a powerful energy pouring into their bodies, which shocked them. What's going on? Xiaoming asked in surprise. I don't know, but I think this must be related to the events we experienced before. Lin Nan tried to clear his thoughts. The light gradually dissipated, and they found themselves in a completely new environment. In this environment, everything is so strange and mysterious. Where is this place? Xiaoming asked curiously. I don't know, but I think we will be able to find clues to the answer, Lin Nan said with firm eyes. They decided to move on and look for clues to the truth. In an ancient ruins, they discovered a pile of ancient documents marked with a particularly striking date, the time of the end of the world. The ancient one mage nodded, knowing that his choice was right. So, he began to prepare a team for them, composed of experienced players. They will go to the crime scene together and face the upcoming challenges and dangers. As Master Ancient One led a team, Lin Nan and Li Yalin came to a supermarket warehouse near the crime scene. This warehouse was once the largest freight center in the area. It has been abandoned for many years. The busyness of the past has disappeared, replaced by desolation and depression. The door of the warehouse was rusty and shabby, but the lock on the door was opened with pliers. It was obvious that someone had been in and out. It seems that we are not the first people to come here, Li Yalin frowned, her voice full of vigilance. Lin Nan looked around, and his intuition told him that there were some important clues hidden here. They decided to enter the warehouse and search carefully. As soon as they entered the warehouse, they felt an old smell, dust filled the air, and the dim lights could not illuminate the dark space. We have to be careful, the Ancient One Mage's voice was low and powerful, and he reminded everyone to stay vigilant. The female Lin Nan looked at him, a trace of worry flashed in her eyes. We have to make a decision, she said. Lin Nan was silent for a moment, then suddenly turned around and walked towards the portal. His action was unexpected, making both Harder and the female Lin Nan feel a little surprised. Wait, where are you going? Harder asked. Lin Nan stopped and looked back at them, with determination in his eyes. I want to find the Ancient One Mage. I believe he can help us solve this problem. His voice was firm and decisive. Hader and the female Lin Nan exchanged glances, and then decided to follow him. Let's go together, unity can defeat everything, female Lin Nan said. I remember that I was controlled by some kind of force. The citizen's voice trembled as he tried to recall his experience and find some clues. Lin Nan frowned, knowing that everything this citizen said might be a key clue. He decided to continue talking to him and try to learn more about the situation. Can you tell me what happened? Lin Nan's voice was gentle but firm. He tried to comfort the victim and let him let go of his guard and tell his experience. The citizens were silent for a while, and then began to tell what they had experienced. He described how he felt after being possessed and how the powerful force controlled his actions and made him unable to extricate himself. Lin Nan listened, with anger and unwillingness welling up in his heart. He is determined to seek justice for this victim, expose the true face of the dark force, and let them receive the punishment they deserve. During the investigation, the team encountered an unexpected crisis. As they tried to take the possessed citizen to the investigation base, suddenly a powerful dark force enveloped the entire warehouse. As members of the team, Harder and Lin Nan reacted immediately. However, just as they were trying to protect the victim, a strange energy suddenly struck, binding Hader firmly in place. Had. Lin Nan's voice was full of anxiety and worry. He immediately rushed to Had, trying to free him from the shackles of dark power. But the dark power was so powerful that Lin Nan could hardly resist. His body was firmly fixed in place by the dark force, unable to move. What's going on? Lin Nan felt a sense of helplessness and fear in his heart, and he felt an unprecedented sense of oppression. At the same time, Harder's body began to change. A strange energy surged out of his body and gradually enveloped him. His eyes became confused and frightened, as if he had lost his self-awareness. Hard, cheer up. Lin Nan's voice was full of calling and hope. He was unwilling to give up hope for his teammates. However, the control of the dark forces becomes stronger and stronger, and Hard seems to have completely lost his self-awareness. His body began to distort violently, as if it was completely controlled by dark power. Lin Nan tried his best to free Hader from the shackles of dark power, but in vain. The oppression of the dark force became stronger and stronger, almost making him breathless. At this moment, the voice of the Ancient One Mage suddenly sounded. We must quickly find a way to stop this dark force, otherwise the consequences will be disastrous. Lin Nan heard the Ancient One Mage's cry and immediately realized the seriousness of the danger. He decided to risk huge amounts of money and join forces with the Ancient One Mage to fight this dark force. The two cooperated tacitly, mobilizing the power deep in their hearts, trying to dispel the dark power. Their bodies were shrouded in a layer of holy light, and they started a fierce battle with the dark power. During the fierce battle, the dark force became more and more violent, trying to swallow the two people completely. However, Lin Nan and the Ancient One Mage's will is as firm as iron. They are unwilling to be bound by the dark power and are determined to protect everyone around them. Finally, after a fierce confrontation, Lin Nan and the Ancient One Mage successfully fought back the dark power and rescued Hard's body. Hader regained his freedom, but his body still left traces of dark power, and he knew that this battle was a heavy test for him. After the dark force was repulsed, a pale light gradually dispersed, revealing Harder who was bound within it. His body was obviously exhausted, but his eyes were full of determination and vigilance. Had, are you okay? Lin Nan walked to him and asked with concern. Harder trembled slightly and nodded with difficulty. Although his body had gained freedom, a trace of uneasiness and fear remained deep in his mind. We have to figure out what happened quickly. The Ancient One Mage's voice sounded, and there was a hint of contemplation and alertness in his eyes. Lin Nan and the Ancient One Mage began to carefully observe the surrounding environment, trying to find some clues. Their eyes wandered around the warehouse, hoping to find some useful clues to reveal the true source of the dark power. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared in front of them. She was wearing a black robe, with long hair shawl, and a pair of bright eyes flashing with cunning light. You finally found me. The figure's voice was cold and indifferent, and her tone revealed an incredible sense of confidence and arrogance. Lin Nan and the Ancient One Mage looked at each other, and they could both feel the powerful aura exuding from the mysterious woman in front of them. They realized that she was probably the mastermind behind everything. Are you the source of that dark power? The Ancient One Mage's voice was calm and steady as he tried to find out the true identity of this woman. The woman smiled slightly, and her smile was full of an indescribable sense of mystery. She walked toward them slowly, each step seeming to release an irresistible force. Yes, I am the source of dark power. The woman's voice was clear and cold, and her eyes scanned everything around her, as if she was declaring her dominance. Lin Nan felt a surge of anger and unwillingness. He was determined to expose the woman's true identity and make her pay for everything she had done. Why are you doing this? Lin Nan's voice was full of anger and challenge as he tried to figure out the woman's true purpose. The woman's smile became more sarcastic and cold, and her eyes revealed a ruthlessness and determination. Because I am you, Lin Nan. Lin Nan was stunned. He looked at the woman in front of him in disbelief. He never thought that the man behind the dark power was himself. You or me? Lin Nan's voice trembled, and his heart fell into an unprecedented chaos and panic. They understood that they had crossed the boundaries of time and space and came to a brand new time and space. And Lin Nan's conspiracy has become more complicated and dangerous. We must find Lin Nan and stop his plan, otherwise this time and space will fall into chaos. Lin Nan's voice revealed a trace of determination. Lin Nan stood in front of the portal, staring confusedly at the space passage that was shining with faint light. He took a deep breath and felt an inexplicable hesitation in his heart. What should we do now? Hader asked anxiously. He could feel the distortion of the timeline, which made him feel a little uneasy. I'm not sure. Lin Nan's voice was slightly confused. The woman nodded, her eyes flashing with a trace of coldness and cruelty. Yes, I am a part of you, the dark side deep in your heart that you have suppressed. Lin Nan's heart was shocked, and he realized that he could not escape this fact. There is a powerful dark force hidden deep in his heart, which affects his thoughts and behavior all the time. But I won't let you continue to act recklessly. Lin Nan's voice was full of determination and firmness, and he was determined to have a decisive battle with his dark side. The woman sneered, a hint of ridicule and disdain in her eyes. We will meet again, Lin Nan. Next time, I will make you fall completely. As a black light flashed, the woman's figure disappeared into the shadow of the warehouse. Lin Nan felt an unspeakable pressure in his heart, and he knew that he would face a more difficult challenge. Lin Nan stared at the woman in front of him quietly, with complex emotions surging in his heart. He knew he had to face his dark side, and at the same time realized how powerful this woman was. Why are you doing this? Lin Nan's voice was full of doubts and confusion, as he tried to figure out the ins and outs of this mystery. The woman smiled slightly, and her smile revealed an incredible confidence and arrogance. Because I know what you are thinking, Lin Nan. You also desire to have power and control everything. Lin Nan was stunned for a moment, and a shock surged in his heart. He never thought that there was such a strong desire hidden deep in his heart, which was affecting his thoughts and behaviors all the time. You were wrong. Lin Nan's voice was weak and calm, and he tried to deny the desire deep in his heart. However, the woman remained unmoved, with a hint of coldness and cruelty in her eyes. Don't deny it, Lin Nan. Your heart has long been shrouded in darkness, and your desire for power is so strong that you can't control it. Lin Nan felt an invisible pressure hanging over him, and he knew that he could not escape the true thoughts deep in his heart. He desires power and wants to be able to control everything, and this desire affects his thoughts and behavior all the time. If you are willing to join me, we can rule Kamatage together. The woman's voice was cold and seductive. She was trying to win over Lin Nan and let him join her camp. Lin Nan was silent for a moment, falling into a difficult decision in his heart. He knew that he could not easily give up his belief in justice and fairness, but at the same time he could not deny his deepest desires. I will not stand with you. Lin Nan's voice was firm and calm, and he rejected the woman's proposal. The woman's brows wrinkled slightly, and there was a trace of disappointment and dissatisfaction in her eyes. What a pity, Lin Nan. You could have been an excellent ruler. Lin Nan didn't say anything more. He knew that he had to stick to his beliefs and not be shrouded in darkness. He was determined to expose the woman's true identity and make her pay for everything she had done. Lin Nan stood quietly in the center of the warehouse, with a tense atmosphere surrounding him. His heart was full of thoughts and struggles. He knew that he had to face the challenge before him, but at the same time he also realized the difficulty of this challenge. Lin Nan, what are you going to do? Hard's voice suddenly broke the silence, and his eyes revealed a kind of anxiety and uneasiness. Lin Nan took a deep breath and tried to calm down the fluctuations in his heart. We must find a way to stop her, otherwise she will bring disaster to Kamal Taj. The Ancient One mage walked up to Lin Nan, his eyes flashing with determination and belief. We cannot let that dark force continue to rage. We must join forces to fight against her. Lin Nan nodded, knowing that he could no longer hesitate. He is determined to work with his teammates to fight against this powerful enemy and protect the safety and stability of Kamatage. We must find ways to find her weaknesses. Lin Nan's voice was firm and calm, as he tried to find the key to victory. Perhaps we can find clues through her past, Harder suggested, with a hint of wit and flexibility in his eyes. The Ancient One mage nodded, realizing that Harder's suggestion made sense. You're right, we can find a way to win by investigating her past. So Lin Nan and his teammates began to carefully investigate the woman's past, trying to find some clues. They exhausted all methods and collected all kinds of information, hoping to uncover the truth of this mystery. After some hard work, they finally found some key clues. The woman's past is full of mysteries and incredible stories. She has experienced many twists and turns and challenges, but she has always maintained a strong willpower and determination. Perhaps we can find the key to victory from her past. Lin Nan's voice was full of expectation and confidence. He believed that as long as he found the right method, he would be able to stop the spread of this dark force. As the team continues to delve deeper into the woman's past, they gradually discover some surprising facts. It turns out that this woman was once a mysterious being with powerful power, and she left an indelible mark on the history of Kamal Taj. She turned out to be a being with powerful power. The Ancient One Mage's voice was full of shock and surprise, and he looked at the investigation results in front of him in disbelief. Lin Nan felt a surge of complicated emotions in his heart, and he knew that he had to face this cruel reality. His purpose is not only to find the source of the dark power, but more importantly, to overthrow Kamal Taj and break the sacred timeline. We must find a way to stop her, otherwise she will bring disaster to Kamal Taj. Lin Nan's voice was full of determination and firmness, and he was determined to completely eliminate the dark force hidden behind Kamal Taj. The three of them quickly passed through the portal and came to another unknown time and space. The moment they disappeared, the portal also disappeared, leaving only an empty space. As they passed through the portal, they could feel a powerful energy distorting the surrounding space and time, which caused their bodies to feel a violent vibration. When they regained their footing, they found themselves in another strange place. Where is this? Harder looked around, trying to identify his surroundings. It seems that we have come to another strange world. There was a hint of uneasiness in the voice of the female Lin Nan. Harder and the Ancient One Mage nodded, and they were also aware of the danger before them. They are determined to work with Lin Nan to fight against this powerful enemy and protect the safety and stability of Kamal Taj. As a result, Lin Nan and his teammates began to plot against this mysterious woman. They have formulated a series of plans, hoping to calmly cope with the current challenges and protect the future of Kamal Taj. After some planning, they decided to go to the woman's hiding place and confront her personally. They know that this battle will be extremely difficult, but their faith and determination remain rock solid. We must be prepared and ready to face challenges at any time. Lin Nan's voice was full of firmness and confidence, and he was determined to fight this battle to the end. As the team continued to move forward, they finally came to the woman's hiding place, an abandoned factory. The outer walls of the factory have been eroded by the wind and rain over the years and are torn to pieces, looking eerie and terrifying. Under the moonlight, the entire factory looked like an abandoned haunted house, filled with an unsettling atmosphere. We finally arrived at our destination. The Ancient One Mage's voice was full of vigilance. He looked around, alertly preparing to face possible dangers. Lin Nan silently stared at the factory in front of him, his heart full of uneasiness and tension. He knew that this would be a life and death battle, and the outcome would be decided at this moment. We must act carefully and not take it lightly. Harder's voice was low and firm. He took out his pistol and guarded the safety of the team vigilantly. The team slowly entered the factory, looking for traces of the woman. It was dark inside the factory, with only the faint moonlight shining in through the broken windows, reflecting the ruin-like scene. Suddenly, a harsh sound sounded, like a low roar coming from deep underground, which made people's hearts tremble. Quick, let's go. Lin Nan's voice was a little nervous, and he quickened his pace, trying to get rid of that disturbing aura. However, at this moment, a black shadow suddenly appeared from the darkness and pounced on them like a hungry wolf. Be careful. Harder's voice was full of panic. He quickly raised his pistol and prepared to fire at the black shadow. Lin Nan also reacted. He faced the black shadow, holding weapons tightly with both hands, preparing to deal with sudden dangers. With a loud noise, they started a fierce fight with the black shadow. Lin Nan was agile and always vigilant. He tried to find the flaw in the black shadow and deliver a fatal blow. Harder is calm and decisive, his shooting skills are accurate, and every bullet is fired at the vital part of the black shadow, trying to repel it. The Ancient One Mage used his own spells to release powerful energy, trying to suppress the black shadow in place and buy time for his teammates. After a fierce battle, they finally pushed back the shadow, but they also paid a heavy price. Fine beads of sweat broke out on Lin Nan's forehead. His breathing was rapid, but there was a trace of firmness and determination in his eyes. We must continue to move forward and not shrink back because of temporary setbacks. Lin Nan's voice was firm and calm, and his eyes revealed a strong will. Lin Nan's eyes flashed with determination, and he knew it was time to act. In the dark corner of the factory, he found a hidden portal, which was a passage to an unknown place. I have to go and face all this alone. Lin Nan's voice was firm and calm. He resolutely decided to take risks alone and face this dark power. The teammates exclaimed and tried to stop Lin Nan's decision, but they also knew that Lin Nan had his own mission and responsibility, which they could not stop. Lin Nan, you have to be careful. Hard's voice was full of worry, and he tried to persuade Lin Nan to think twice before acting. The Ancient One mage looked solemn. He knew that Lin Nan would face huge amounts of danger, but he also believed in his ability and courage. Lin Nan nodded slightly, took a deep breath, and walked towards the portal. With a flash of bright light, he disappeared into the portal and headed to the unknown world. There was a void in the portal, and Lin Nan felt an invisible force surrounding him, as if guiding him forward. He followed this force without hesitation and entered unknown territory. Gradually, he came to a strange and ancient world. There is a mysterious atmosphere in the air here, surrounded by dense forests and ancient buildings, giving people a dreamlike feeling. Lin Nan looked around, trying to find clues. He knew that only by finding the source of the dark power could he completely eliminate the enemy hiding behind it. Suddenly, a gust of wind came, bringing with it a cold breath. Lin Nan looked around cautiously, trying to determine the direction of danger. At this moment, a black shadow suddenly appeared in front of Lin Nan. It was a tall man with a sinister face and a hint of cunning in his eyes. Who are you? Lin Nan's voice was calm and alert, as he tried to figure out the identity of the person in front of him. The shadow smiled slightly, his voice low and cold. I am your opponent, Lin Nan. I come from another timeline, I know your plan, and I will not let you destroy the sacred timeline. Lin Nan's heart was shocked. He didn't expect that this black shadow actually came from another timeline. He knew he faced a difficult challenge, but he was determined to defend his beliefs and mission. I won't let you succeed. Lin Nan's voice was full of firmness and determination, and he was ready to start a life and death battle with this black shadow. The two started a fierce battle in the void, and their figures shuttled through the space like lightning. With their fists hitting the flesh and their swords flashing, they showed off their most powerful strength and skills. However, an unexpected encounter changed his life. After an afternoon meal, he met a mysterious old man. The old man held an ancient pocket watch in his hand with a sparkling gemstone inlaid on the surface. The old man told Lin Nan that this pocket watch has the power to transcend time and can travel through time and space to find lost memories. The team members spread out and began to search every corner of the warehouse. They carefully observed every trace, hoping to find some useful clues. Suddenly, a team member discovered a door hidden in the corner. The lock on the door has been opened, and it seems that someone has been in and out. This may be the place we are looking for. Lin Nan's voice was filled with excitement, and he immediately walked towards the door. They carefully opened the door and found a dim passage. The passage stretches into the distance, and I don't know where it leads. We have to be careful, Li Yalin reminded, her eyes fixed on the darkness ahead. The Ancient One mage nodded, his eyes revealing a mysterious light. They decided to go forward together and explore this mysterious passage. They walked forward in the dim passage, feeling the cold atmosphere coming from all around. Time seemed to become blurred in this darkness, and they didn't know how long they had been walking. Inside is an ancient scroll, which records an ancient legend and mysterious ritual. Lin Nan and Xiaoming read the contents on the scroll carefully, filled with curiosity and expectation. This scroll seems to be about an ancient ritual. Maybe we should try to perform this ritual, maybe we can unlock the secret of Kamatage. Xiaoming said. Yes, we must try it. Maybe this is the answer we are looking for. Lin Nan said excitedly. The two decided to perform this ancient ritual in the temple, hoping to unlock the secret of Kamatage. They followed the instructions on the scroll, performed mysterious rituals, and prayed for answers. As the ceremony progressed, a mysterious force suddenly appeared in the temple, shrouding the two of them. They felt a powerful energy, as if they were connected to the ancient civilization. Lin Nan and Xiaoming were performing ancient rituals in the temple, and they felt a mysterious energy surrounding them. The ancient statue seemed to be resurrected before my eyes, and the flames on the altar shone with a strange light. This energy is so powerful, it seems to be connected to ancient civilization. Xiao Ming sighed. Yes, I feel it, there must be huge amounts of secrets hidden here. Lin Nan said with firm eyes. Suddenly, there was a loud noise in the temple, and a crack extended from the altar, as if it was going to swallow up the entire temple. Lin Nan and Xiao Ming immediately realized that the situation was not good, and they quickly avoided the scope of the crack. We must find a solution as soon as possible, otherwise the entire temple will be swallowed up. Lin Nan said loudly. The two hurriedly searched the surroundings, hoping to find a way to rescue them. Suddenly, Lin Nan discovered a hidden compartment above an ancient altar, which seemed to be a switch. Maybe this is the key to solving the problem. Lin Nan decided to give it a try. He reached out and touched the hidden grid and found that it could move. He gently pushed open the hidden compartment, revealing a control panel. There are ancient symbols and buttons on the panel, which look very mysterious. Quick, let's try pressing these buttons, maybe we can unlock the secret of the crack. Lin Nan said. The two of them worked together to operate the control panel and pressed a series of buttons. Suddenly, the energy in the temple fluctuated violently, and the cracks began to slowly close. They breathed a sigh of relief and finally resolved the crisis. Great, we succeeded, Xiao Ming said excitedly. Yes, but we cannot relax our vigilance yet. There are still many unknown dangers waiting for us, Lin Nan warned. The two decided to continue exploring the temple and look for more clues. They walked through the mysterious corridor and came to the depths of the temple. Next to an ancient stone tablet, they found an ancient document. This document records an ancient legend, which seems to be related to the answer we are looking for. Xiao Ming said. Lin Nan read the contents of the document carefully, filled with curiosity and expectation. The legend describes an ancient ritual, and only through this ritual can the secret of Kama Taj be unlocked. This document seems to be our key, and we must try to perform this ancient ritual. Lin Nan said. Yes, I agree. We must act as soon as possible, maybe we can find the answer to the truth. Xiao Ming expressed support. The two decided to follow the instructions in the document and perform the ancient ritual. They came to the altar and prepared to start the ceremony. We must go all out and believe in ourselves, maybe we can find clues to the truth. Lin Nan encouraged. Yes, we will definitely succeed, Xiao Ming said with confidence. The two began to perform ancient rituals, praying for answers. The temple is filled with a mysterious atmosphere, as if the ancient civilization is communicating with them. Lin Nan and Xiao Ming performed ancient rituals, and the temple was filled with a mysterious atmosphere. They stared at the flames on the altar, filled with anticipation and uneasiness. This ceremony is so complicated, can we succeed? Xiao Ming couldn't help but ask. We must believe in ourselves and our strength. As long as we go all out, we will succeed. Lin Nan encouraged Xiao Ming and also suggested to himself. They began to recite ancient incantations, hold sacrifices in hand, and march towards the altar. The surrounding air seemed to freeze, as if the entire temple was listening to their call. Suddenly, a dazzling light rose from the altar, illuminating the entire temple. The two felt a huge amount of power pouring into their bodies, which shocked them. What's going on? Xiao Ming asked in surprise. I don't know, but I feel that we are approaching the edge of the truth. Lin Nan's voice was filled with excitement and uneasiness. The light gradually dissipated, and the temple returned to calm. Lin Nan and Xiao Ming looked at each other and smiled, as if saying to each other, we succeeded. They began to look for clues everywhere, hoping to find clues to the truth. In a corner of the temple, they found an ancient stone tablet with ancient texts engraved on it. These words seemed to be some kind of password. Maybe we should decipher it. Xiao Ming frowned and thought hard. Lin Nan stared at the words on the stone tablet and felt a sense of determination in his heart. They began to study the words on the stone tablet carefully, hoping to find some clues. Maybe these words are describing an ancient legend, related to our adventure, Lin Nan said, trying to figure out the meaning of the words. I agree, we must decipher the meaning of these words as soon as possible, and maybe we can find clues to the truth. Xiao Ming agreed. Suddenly, they heard a low cough from the front, as if someone was there. Someone is there, Lin Nan shouted loudly, and they quickened their pace and walked forward. Walking out of the passage, they came to a spacious underground space. There are various items placed in the space, which is obviously some kind of storage room. And deep in the room, there was a figure lying on the ground, coughing non-stop. Lin Nan and Li Yalin walked forward and found that the figure was one of the suspects in the case. His body looked very weak. "What's wrong with you?" Li Yalin's voice was full of concern. She squatted down and tried to help the man. At this time, the door of the warehouse was suddenly knocked open, and a group of agents poured in. They were fully armed and had solemn faces. "Lin Nan, you have been surrounded. Surrender." The agent leader's voice echoed throughout the warehouse. Lin Nan looked around calmly, knowing that the situation was irreversible. He had already made a decision in his heart. Suddenly, there was a violent energy fluctuation in the warehouse, and everyone's eyes were focused on the entrance of the warehouse. A figure slowly walked into the warehouse, and the surrounding air seemed to solidify with his arrival. This man was tall, dressed in black robes, and exuded a powerful wave of energy. "Finally found you, Lin Nan." The man's voice was low and majestic. Lin Nan's heart was shocked. He didn't expect that this black shadow actually came from another timeline. He knew he faced a difficult challenge, but he was determined to defend his beliefs and mission. "I won't let you succeed." Lin Nan's voice was full of firmness and determination, and he was ready to start a life and death battle with this black shadow. The two started a fierce battle in the void, and their figures shuttled through the space like lightning. With their fists hitting the flesh and their swords flashing, they showed off their most powerful strength and skills. Time seems to have become blurred in this decisive battle. During college, Lin Nan developed a strong interest in literature. He likes to read various types of novels, from detective novels to fantasy stories, and is immersed in them all. He dreams of becoming a writer one day and using his words to influence and infect more people. In his junior year, Lin Nan met a mysterious old man who claimed to be a collector of ancient books. The old man gave Lin Nan an ancient book, hoping that he could understand its secrets. Although Lin Nan doesn't know much about ancient books, he is always full of curiosity about mysterious things. He began to read this ancient book, which contained various mysterious legends and stories. As time passed, Lin Nan found himself involved in an adventure that transcended reality. He discovered that this ancient book was not an ordinary thing, but a passage connecting reality and the ancient world. In this passage, he encountered a variety of fantasy creatures and mysterious events, and experienced a series of thrilling adventures. During this journey, Lin Nan met many like-minded partners and faced various challenges together. They supported each other, overcame many difficulties together, and finally reached the other side of victory. However, as the adventure progresses, Lin Nan gradually realizes the greater secret hidden behind the ancient book, which will change the fate of the entire world. Lin Nan and his partners decided to continue exploring, looking for answers, and unlocking the secrets of the ancient book. They embarked on a new journey, facing more difficult challenges and unknown dangers. In this adventure, Lin Nan will face the test of life and death, and will also explore the true meaning of life and inner strength. Lin Nan and his friends passed through an ancient city and came to the mysterious Kamatage. This city is said to be a treasure of ancient civilization, but it has been abandoned for many years, leaving only ruins and silent streets. They came to an abandoned library, hoping to find some clues. This place does seem to have been abandoned for a long time. Lin Nan looked around and sighed. "Yes, but I think we can find some useful information here," said my partner Xiaoming, who is a senior history buff and knows a lot about ancient civilizations. They came to the deepest part of the library and found a secret room that had been sealed for a long time. Lin Nan pushed open the door and found that it was filled with ancient books and cultural relics. Among the dusty files in the corner, they found a particularly eye-catching file. "Look here, this dossier is marked, 'The Mystery of Kamatage.'" Lin Nan pointed to the words on the dossier and said. Xiaoming stepped forward, took the file in his hand and studied it carefully. This dossier records some history and mysterious legends about the city of Kamatage. Perhaps we can find some clues from it. The two began to study the contents of the dossier carefully. They discovered some ancient maps and records, revealing the city's once glorious past and hidden secrets. There is a location marked on this map. It looks like an ancient temple. Maybe we should go there and have a look. Xiaoming pointed to the mark on the map and said. "Okay, let's go to that temple immediately." Maybe the answer we need is hidden there, Lin Nan said excitedly. The two packed their bags and embarked on the journey to the temple. They walked through deserted streets and along ancient roads. During the long journey, they experienced many challenges and difficulties, but never gave up. Finally, they came to the mysterious temple. The temple is majestic and exudes an ancient atmosphere. Lin Nan and Xiaoming walked into the temple together to explore its secrets. Deep in the temple, they discovered an ancient altar. There is a mysterious statue placed on the altar, which seems to be telling ancient legends. Perhaps this statue is related to the secret of Kamatage, Xiaoming said, staring at the statue. Lin Nan walked forward and carefully observed every detail of the statue. Suddenly, he discovered a small box hidden under the base of the statue. There is a small box here, maybe there is something important in it. Lin Nan opened the small box carefully. They began the difficult work of interpretation, constantly thinking about the meaning of each word. During their efforts, suddenly, a strange light shot out from the stone tablet, illuminating the entire temple. What's going on? Xiaoming was startled and almost lost his balance. The shadow smiled slightly, his voice low and cold. I am your opponent, Lin Nan. I come from another timeline, I know your plan, and I will not let you destroy the sacred timeline. Yes, but maybe this is the place we are looking for, Lin Nan said, his eyes lingering on the abandoned building. They carefully walked through the weeds and came to the factory gate. The door is rusty and half open, as if telling the story of its past glory and vicissitudes. Lin Nan reached out and pushed open the door, making a dull sound. Entering the factory, a stale smell hits your face. The old machines and equipment have been abandoned in the corner, and the factory building is covered with dust and cobwebs. But in this desolation, they felt an unusual atmosphere. It seems like someone has been here before. Li Yalin frowned and looked around alertly. Lin Nan frowned. His intuition told him that this abandoned factory might hide some secrets. They began to search carefully, hoping to find some clues. In a corner, they discovered a covered basement entrance. Lin Nan opened the floor, revealing the entrance to a secret passage. They walked into the secret passage without hesitation, pursuing the mysterious aura. The dark passage was cold and damp, and the walls were covered with moss and vines. They walked cautiously, not knowing what dangers lay ahead. Suddenly, they heard footsteps in the distance, as if someone was walking towards them. Lin Nan and Li Yalin immediately stopped and prepared to face possible dangers. Who is there? A deep voice suddenly sounded, startling them. Lin Nan and Li Yalin exchanged a glance, then slowly turned around. In the dim light, they saw a figure walking out of the darkness. It was the villain Lin Nan. Are you Lin Nan? Li Yalin asked in surprise. She didn't expect that they would see him here. Lin Nan frowned, his expression seemed a bit complicated. He looked at the person opposite, as if thinking about what to say. Yes, I am Lin Nan, he finally said, with a hint of bitterness in his voice. In the dim light of the abandoned factory, Lin Nan and Li Yalin faced the sudden appearance of the villain Lin Nan, and the atmosphere was solemn and tense. Why are you hiding here? Li Yalin's voice was filled with confusion as she tried to understand the other party's intentions. The villain Lin Nan was silent for a while, as if thinking about how to answer. Finally, he spoke slowly. I'm waiting here, waiting for that moment to come. That moment, what are you waiting for? Lin Nan's voice revealed a hint of vigilance, and he tried to grasp the clues in the other party's words. I'm waiting for the judgment to come. The villain Lin Nan's eyes flashed with a hint of fanaticism, and his words were full of incredible mystery. Lin Nan and Li Yalin exchanged glances, feeling strong uneasiness in their hearts. They realized that there may be a greater conspiracy and danger hidden behind the villain Lin Nan's remarks. What are you talking about? Li Yalin tried to calm down her emotions, her voice trembling slightly. I was chosen, and I have an important mission. The villain Lin Nan's voice became more and more excited, and his eyes flashed with fanaticism. Lin Nan and Li Yalin looked at the person in front of them in astonishment, feeling filled with confusion and uneasiness. They tried to clear their minds and find solutions. Suddenly, there were whistling sounds from a distance, as if a strong wind was approaching. Their hearts were suddenly startled, and Lin Nan immediately remembered the recent hurricane attack in Alabama. We have to get out of here quickly. Lin Nan shouted loudly, realizing that the danger in front of him was far more urgent than the villain they were facing. They hurriedly left the abandoned factory and hurried outside. The wind became more and more fierce, and the howling became more and more deafening. Li Yalin held Lin Nan's hand tightly, and they supported each other and moved forward with difficulty in a safe direction. Under the raging hurricane, they felt the fragility and insignificance of life. However, an unyielding courage and hope still ignited in their hearts. They believed that as long as they persisted, they would eventually be able to survive the current crisis. Faced with the threat of the Alabama hurricane, Lin Nan and Li Yalin decided to seek more support. They contacted an Ancient One mage, hoping to get some useful help from him. The Ancient One mage is a mysterious figure with otherworldly abilities. They came to the place where Master Ancient One was, an ancient temple hidden deep in the valley. The temple is quiet and solemn, surrounded by towering peaks, giving people a sense of being beyond this world. "We need your help, Master Ancient One." Lin Nan's voice was full of sincerity and expectation. He hoped that Master Ancient One could give them support and guidance. The Ancient One mage stood there quietly, his eyes deep and mysterious. He seemed to have foreseen their arrival and was not surprised by their request. "The crisis you are facing is not something that ordinary people can handle." The Ancient One mage's voice was low and powerful, as if carrying a supernatural power. "We have tried our best, but the situation is becoming more and more dangerous," Li Yalin said, with a hint of anxiety in her voice. The Ancient One mage thought silently for a while, and then slowly said, "I can provide you with some help, but the condition is that you must agree to my request." "Please tell us, what do you need us to do?" Lin Nan asked, knowing that the Ancient One mage would never make a request easily. "I need you to help me complete a task." The Ancient One mage's eyes were as bright as fire. Through a power that transcended time and space, he seemed to be able to see all future possibilities. Lin Nan and Li Yalin looked at each other, knowing that the task of the Ancient One mage would never be easy. But in order to solve the immediate crisis, they must accept this challenge. "We promise you," Lin Nan said solemnly, his voice full of determination and confidence. The Ancient One mage nodded, knowing that his choice was right. So, he began to prepare a team for them, composed of experienced players. They will go to the crime scene together and face the upcoming challenges and dangers. As Master Ancient One led a team, Lin Nan and Li Yalin came to a supermarket warehouse near the crime scene. This warehouse was once the largest freight center in the area. It has been abandoned for many years. The busyness of the past has disappeared, replaced by desolation and depression. The door of the warehouse was rusty and shabby, but the lock on the door was opened with pliers. It was obvious that someone had been in and out. "It seems that we are not the first people to come here," Li Yalin frowned, her voice full of vigilance. Female Lin Nan looked around, trying to find some clues. "Perhaps we can look for some local residents to see if they know the whereabouts of Lin Nan." She made a suggestion. They decided to explore this strange city first, trying to find some clues. As they walked, they were shocked by the sight before them. High-rise buildings rise from the ground, and strange vehicles shuttle through the sky. Everything is so different from the world they are familiar with. The level of technological development here is much more advanced than the time and space we live in. Harder exclaimed. "It seems that we have come to a highly developed future world." Female Lin Nan was also surprised. Just as they were immersed in exploring the future world, suddenly, a bright light shined, and they saw a portal appearing not far away. "What is that?" Lin Nan frowned tightly. They quickly walked towards the portal, trying to make sense of this unexpected appearance. When they approached the portal, a strong wave of energy hit them, and the portal began to show a blurry scene. "This is a portal. It seems to have been opened by someone," Harder said alertly. "Quick, we must work together to deal with them." Female Lin Nan shouted loudly, the weapon in her hand flashed with cold light, preparing to launch a fierce attack on the enemy. Lin Nan nodded, and he and the female Lin Nan launched a fierce counterattack. Their figures shuttled through the space, as fast and fierce as the wind and rain. The Time Guardians were forced back a few steps by the two attacks, but soon launched a fierce counterattack. Armed with advanced weapons, they launched a fierce attack on Lin Nan and the female Lin Nan in an attempt to completely eliminate them. Lin Nan and his daughter Lin Nan withstood the enemy's fierce attack without flinching. Their figures flickered in the space, and every attack was accurate and powerful, forcing the enemy back a few steps. We must find the weakness of the Time Guardian. Lin Nan shouted, his voice full of determination and firmness. The female Lin Nan nodded, her eyes flashing with sharp light. I have a plan. Lin Nan and the female Lin Nan quickly discussed it and then started cooperation. They cooperated tacitly, working in tandem and attacking from both sides, trying to find the flaws of the Time Guardian. The Time Guardians felt the threat from Lin Nan and the female Lin Nan. They stepped up their attacks and tried to defeat the two completely. Lin Nan and his daughter Lin Nan withstood the enemy's fierce attack. Their bodies were tortured, but they still persisted and were determined not to give up. They know that this battle is about life and death, but they are willing to use their lives to defend freedom and justice. Thanks to the unremitting efforts of Lin Nan and his daughter Lin Nan, the Time Guardians finally revealed their flaws. Lin Nan and his daughter Lin Nan seized this opportunity and launched the final charge. During the fierce battle, Lin Nan and his daughter Lin Nan's attention was attracted by a sudden explosion. What's going on? Female Lin Nan turned her head and looked outside the battlefield. Lin Nan frowned tightly. He could feel the ominous omen of the explosion coming from outside the battlefield. I'm afraid our situation is even more dangerous. Both of them were filled with anxiety and uneasiness, and they knew that the current situation had become very critical. We must get out of here as soon as possible. Lin Nan shouted loudly, his voice full of anxiety and tension. The female Lin Nan nodded. She also felt the danger approaching. We have to find a way to escape. The two quickly left the battlefield, avoiding the explosions and energy waves and looking for an escape route. The explosions outside the house became more and more intensive, and the air was filled with a strong smell of gunpowder smoke. Lin Nan and her daughter Lin Nan kept shuttling between the wreckage, their figures looming in the smoke. We have to get out of here as soon as possible. Female Lin Nan shouted loudly, her voice appearing particularly loud amid the explosion. Lin Nan nodded, his eyes shining with determination. We can't just let this happen. The two struggled forward, their hearts filled with the desire for survival and the yearning for freedom. Although they face many difficulties, they are determined not to give up and must fight until the last moment. Suddenly, an energy wave struck from a distance, knocking Lin Nan and the female Lin Nan to the ground. They groaned in pain and could hardly move their bodies. What's going on? Female Lin Nan shouted angrily, her eyes flashing with anger and helplessness. Lin Nan tried to stand up, but found that his body could no longer move. This is the power of another Time Guardian, he said with difficulty, his voice full of weakness. The female Lin Nan frowned, knowing that the situation was very critical. We have to find a way to fight them. Lin Nan and his daughter Lin Nan tried their best to get rid of the enemy's shackles. Their hearts were filled with anger and despair, but they knew they had to deal with it calmly and find a way to escape. Lin Nan and her daughter Lin Nan were hit by the energy wave, their bodies shook violently, and then they felt huge amounts of impact throwing them out of the house. Rolling in the air, they finally fell heavily to the ground, dripping with blood. Are you okay? Lin Nan struggled to stand up, his body full of pain. The female Lin Nan also managed to get up, her brows furrowed and her face full of pain. I can still hold on. The two stood among the dilapidated houses, and the scenes around them filled their hearts with despair. The house has been completely destroyed, with debris and flames everywhere, and the air is filled with a strong smell of gunpowder smoke. We must find an escape route. Lin Nan's voice was full of firmness and determination. Although his body was extremely exhausted, he still persisted. The female Lin Nan nodded, her eyes shining with determination. We can't just give up. The two slowly walked through the wreckage, trying to find a safe place. Their bodies have suffered a lot, but they still persevere and are determined not to give up easily. Suddenly, an energy wave struck again and swept them into the air. Their bodies rolled in the air and were mercilessly thrown to the ground. Get away! Lin Nan shouted loudly, trying to protect the female Lin Nan. The female Lin Nan fell hard to the ground. Severe pain hit her and she felt that her body could no longer move. She struggled hard and tried to stand up, but found that she was powerless. Lin Nan anxiously walked towards the female Lin Nan, his eyes full of worry. How are you? The female Lin Nan managed to stand up, her face full of pain. I can still hold on. Lin Nan was fighting fiercely with the enemy on the other side. His figure shuttled through the corridors of the base like lightning, holding weapons and engaging in fierce exchanges of fire with the enemy. He could feel that the female Lin Nan was working hard to crack the code, and he knew that he had to persist until the protective shield was destroyed. Hurry up, woman, we don't have much time. Lin Nan's voice sounded through the communicator, full of anxiety and impatience. When the female Lin Nan heard Lin Nan's cry, her heart was filled with anger. She knew she had to complete the task as soon as possible, but the password system in front of her seemed like an insurmountable obstacle. I'm trying my best. Lin Nan gritted her teeth and responded, determined not to let herself fail. Suddenly, a green prompt appeared on the screen, password unlocked successfully. The protective shield has been lifted. The female Lin Nan breathed a sigh of relief. She successfully cracked the password system and destroyed the protective shield. Now it's Lin Nan's turn to destroy the time controller. After Lin Nan received the news, he immediately stopped fighting with the enemy and quickly rushed towards the location of the time controller. His heart was filled with gratitude and admiration for his daughter Lin Nan, whose efforts bought him valuable time. Thank you, woman, Lin Nan shouted, his voice full of gratitude. The female Lin Nan did not answer. Her eyes were fixed on the screen, paying attention to Lin Nan's every move. She knew it was Lin Nan's turn to complete the final task. Lin Nan came to the core component of the time controller, holding a weapon and preparing to completely destroy it. But just then, an accident happened. A powerful energy wave suddenly struck from a distance, knocking Lin Nan to the ground. He groaned in pain and couldn't move his body. When the female Lin Nan saw this scene, her heart was filled with anger and despair. She knew that the success of the mission now depended entirely on her. Lin Nan gritted her teeth and cursed in a low voice, her fingers moving on the controller like lightning. She must destroy the time controller as soon as possible, otherwise it will be too late. I can't let his sacrifice be in vain. Female Lin Nan felt a strong determination in her heart, and she decided to devote her last strength to destroying the time controller. After her best efforts, the time controller was finally completely destroyed. A powerful energy wave exploded in space, destroying the entire base. Lin Nan got up from the ground with difficulty. He saw the female Lin Nan standing there, with a pale face, but a firm light shining in her eyes. He knew that his partner had completed the mission and the enemy's conspiracy had been completely shattered. We succeeded, Lin Nan shouted, his voice full of the joy of victory. After Lin Nan and his daughter Lin Nan successfully destroyed the time controller, they thought they could leave the satellite smoothly, but the situation suddenly changed. We must get out of here as soon as possible, Lin Nan shouted, his eyes flashing anxiously. The female Lin Nan nodded, knowing that the current situation was very critical. We have to find a way to escape. The two hurriedly looked for an escape route, but the situation on the satellite had become increasingly dangerous. Interstellar fragments are floating in space, like ruthless blades, which may tear them into pieces at any time. Suddenly, a powerful energy wave struck again, knocking Lin Nan and the female Lin Nan to the ground. They groaned in pain and could hardly move their bodies. What's going on? Female Lin Nan shouted angrily, her eyes flashing with anger and helplessness. Lin Nan tried to stand up, but found that his body could no longer move. This is the power of another time guardian, he said with difficulty, his voice full of weakness. The female Lin Nan frowned, knowing that the situation was very critical. We have to find a way to fight them. A group of time guardians suddenly appeared next to the two of them. They were holding advanced weapons and had a fierce momentum. They seemed to be preparing to completely eliminate Lin Nan and the female Lin Nan. We have to go, female Lin Nan shouted loudly. She struggled desperately, trying to escape from the shackles of the time guardian. Lin Nan also struggled as hard as he could, but found that he was in a desperate situation. We have to find a way to destroy them. The time guardians approached them, their eyes were cold and ruthless, and they seemed to have no regard for the life and death of Lin Nan and the female Lin Nan. You have failed, a time guardian said coldly, the weapon in his hand exuding a bright light. Now there is only one way to die. Lin Nan and his daughter Lin Nan were filled with anger and despair, but they knew there was no way out now. They must start a life and death battle with the Guardians of Time, only in this way can they save their lives. We can't just give up like this, female Lin Nan said through gritted teeth, her eyes shining with tenacity. When the Time Guardians approached them, Lin Nan and the female Lin Nan were not afraid. They were determined to fight their opponents to the end. We can't just surrender, Lin Nan shouted loudly, his eyes shining with determination. Female Lin Nan also showed no sign of weakness. We will never let them succeed. The tacit understanding between the two strengthened their belief in fighting. They know that this will be a life and death struggle, but they are willing to use their lives to defend freedom and justice. The Time Guardians launched an attack on them. Powerful energy waves raged through space, and interstellar debris flew everywhere. Lin Nan and his daughter Lin Nan dodged the enemy's attacks while looking for opportunities to counterattack. Lin Nan must have left here through this portal. We must catch up with him. Female Lin Nan's tone was full of determination. Just as they were about to enter the portal, suddenly, a golden light began to glow on the edge of the portal, as if some powerful force was interfering with its stability. Quick, we have to leave. Lin Nan's voice was full of urgency. Attracted by this mysterious story, Lin Nan accepted the old man's invitation and embarked on a fantastic journey. In the process of traveling, he experienced countless adventures and challenges, witnessed the changes in history, and felt the passage of time. During this journey, Lin Nan not only discovered the secret hidden deep in his heart, but also met many like-minded partners. They face various difficulties together and work together to find the truth behind the pocket watch. However, as the journey progresses, Lin Nan gradually realizes that the pocket watch is not a simple treasure, but an artifact carrying huge responsibilities. He must learn to control this power, otherwise it may have disastrous consequences. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.